What is good, chat? Oh, the camera angle is off today. Hold up. Let me start that over. Much better. How are we doing today? Welcome to another show. I appreciate y'all being here. It's been a listen. You guys can be anywhere in the world right now, but you're here with dukendon, and I appreciate it. First of all, let me know if you can hear me. I probably was messing around with something. That's why the camera got fucked up. But I appreciate y'all, chat. We got a lot of stuff to talk about because you know how I say everything is coming to pass. Kind of the things we talk about on this show regarding some of the talking points we've heard out there that have been criticized severely on this channel, right? And it's one of those things where, listen, you guys want to call it hating, you guys want to call it clout chasing, it doesn't matter. What matters is, are we correct at the end of the day, right? Are we correct on the ideologies that you are putting out there, all right? And it seems like facts are on our side here, okay? All the facts and all the pretty much all the evidence is on our side, and you guys are just doing a bunch of bro science out there to make it seem like you know what you're talking about, but you actually don't know what you're talking about, and you're actually hurting more men out there in the real world than helping, okay? That's why I gotta be skeptical of some of y'all talking about how we saving lives out here. You notice that's like the common thing a lot of these pill popping heads go to. I save lives. Yeah, that's right. Everybody's writing to me ever since I started doing the red pill. I've been saving lives out here. It's like, okay. All right, buddy, because if these advice is what you're giving these people out here and they're following it, I don't see how you're helping them. And some of you guys are like, okay, dude, what are you talking about? I hear what you're saying, but what is the whole point of this conversation? Okay, the point is, one of the main talking points we've been talking about in this space is the fact that a lot of red pillars are wrong when it comes to what it means to be a man, right? In terms of seeing people like therapist or having people around you where you can talk to them, right? And we've also criticized the fact that a lot of these red pillars, listen, some of them are just hurting other people. A lot of these people have issues, okay? Like the King Riches we were talking about not too long ago. These people have severe issues. And instead of going out and talking to people like a therapist or a close friend or family or whatever the hell, right? They decide to just start a YouTube channel and try to tell you how to live your life. Meanwhile, they are not examples of themselves. So we've been talking about this for a long time. These guys, okay, they seem hurt when they come out here and give advice to a lot of these bozos out here that listen to them. You guys seem hurt. You can see it in their rhetoric. You can hear it in what they say. It's like, bro, you guys sound like you haven't totally, really gone all the way in your healing process. Maybe you should go back to the oven and bake a little more, right? And that's what we've been saying. So recently, the person that we're going to be focusing on today is Sneako, because Sneako was one of the main ones who is talking about not being able to or being able to go to a therapist is reserved for liberals or lefty liberals. It's an agenda, right? It's something that has never worked. And obviously, everybody in the red pill has been saying that. We've heard Daddy Tate been saying that, and Baby Sneako saying the same thing, right? Like father, like son. So they're out here spreading this nonsense that, therapy's for the weak. Therapy doesn't make any sense. Therapy, like, who needs therapy, right? It's just, no, what you need is go buy a course, okay? You got to go buy yourself a course and then listen to us for 3 hours a day. And don't worry, you take our advice, you buy my womanese course, how to date a woman, right? You're going to get right back on the field and you're going to have healthy long-term relationship. Fuck talking to people. Throw that all in the water, right? And we've criticized that. We said, no, you guys sound like you're hurt. Go talk to somebody before you come out here giving people advice. We've been saying that. But listen, Sneako has basically given us the example we've been waiting for, all right? Basically, he's exposed himself. He recently had tried to have a debate with a therapist on the show, right? I think this guy's like I won't say celebrity therapist, but he's pretty big on social media. So he's done stuff with like Aiden Ross and some of these other guys too as well. But Sneako wanted to debate him into a debate, right? Because Sneako wants to go ahead and get his little talking point off on how he believes that therapy is for the weak libtards or lefty idiots out there who just want to talk about fifis and whatnot. So he decided to, go ahead and engage with this individual, and boy, did it go south. All right, well, south in a good way, because we were able to see a lot about Sneako that we kind of had a hunch about, but really it was more important that he admit that himself, right? But it went south. And what I mean by that is this guy is coming in with every intention of trying to blow up this therapist, right? And the therapist, I have never seen someone get disrespected so respectfully in my entire life, right? He deconstructs all of Sneako's tactics, like literally in real time. He was deconstructing all of his tactics and basically was able to penetrate through his little thin shit armor he had for himself. And before you know it, Sneako started opening up like a faucet. Like, I shit you not. It didn't even take that long. It literally took like 2 minutes. Oh my God, bro, chat. It was hilarious. This tough, mentally macho man dude over here, right? Talking about, yeah, we don't need therapy. We're strong men and all this nonsense out there. Come to find out, it took less than 2 minutes and he folded. And like, the therapist was so good. Like, you got to give him props. He was so good. Like, one of the things he mainly exposed is like a lot of these guys who talk about don't go to therapy or don't talk to someone or don't see anyone about it. It's oftentimes either they had a negative experience with a therapist or they didn't really experience therapy at all. A lot of these guys, especially some people who are like ultra far right conservatives, right? They're sitting there thinking that the idea of therapy is where someone just sits there and, they pour their heart out and they just talk about feelings and talk about this stuff all day, right? That's what essentially a lot of these guys think therapy is. So obviously when you filter it through a little conservative red pill or whatever lens they got going on in their heads right now, okay, that seems weak. That doesn't seem masculine. That doesn't seem weird, right? And this is some of the things that a lot of people on the far left, like the feminists, right? Because the far left and the far right, they're the same people. Don't get it twisted. They're the exact same people, okay? But what it basically goes to what I've been saying, what they've been saying on the far left, where they say, okay, well, men need to be a little bit more sensitive, right? You guys got to be a little bit more vulnerable, right? Some of these people will say, and we've kind of like seen the point in that, right? We've talked about like, say, hey, if you're too wound up tight, there's going to be some problems. You have to be vulnerable. Not saying that you got to be vulnerable to whoever, you meet randomly, but you got to make sure that you build yourself a nice circle of friends, of people you can trust. And you also built the mechanisms that you can judge your circle of friends. So you make sure that the people around you want the best for you, right? So that way, if you're running into issues, you will feel confident, not nervous or scared to go to them, and they would want to be able to support you no matter what. And that's what a lot of men are missing in today's society. But the wrong thing that we see coming from the far right now is a lot of these guys are saying, no, they're trying to feminize our boys. Ah, look at this. They want to feminize our kids. They're coming for your kids. It's like, no. Maybe some of these guys want to take it to the extreme, but you have to see the point in that. Young men need to be vulnerable, and if it's not with people around them that they can circles that they can create, it's got to be with a professional help, okay? And we saw this with Sneako. You could tell this guy had zero experience when it comes to dealing with a therapist, being with the therapist. Matter of fact, he goes over his first and only experience with a therapist, and the whole reason that situation went south was because of Sneako. He was, oh my God, bro. Like a lot of this stuff, it's like y'all bring your own problems on your own heads. Y'all, do you know that? Like a lot of y'all bring problems on your own necks. It just doesn't make any sense. But yes, folks, when he was talking, you could tell. It took him less than 2 minutes for him to fold. This guy was talking about his childhood. He was talking about all this stuff like that. It was very interesting. It was very, very interesting. But we're going to go over all of that and more. We're going to watch it on Destiny's stream, actually, because Destiny had some interesting commentary. So I wanted to go ahead and like infuse all of that. So we're going to do something we haven't done in a long time, chat, okay? That is a reaction to a reaction video. That's a reaction section over here. All right? Listen, we know it's about to be fire. But before I pull this up, we got to get through the sponsorship of today's live stream. And the sponsorship is you guys, particularly the YouTube like button. Okay, there's videos, all of the videos are sponsored by you guys by just being here. I appreciate every single one of you for being here. You could literally be anywhere in the world right now, but you chose to spend the day with Duke the Dot, and I promise you I will not disappoint. So go ahead and hit that like button, all right? And then if you like where the show's going so far, smash the subscribe button as well, all right? So let's get it going. So let's pull this up real freaking quick, because we're about to have a laugh over here. This is gonna be hilarious.
Whatever residency training. No, if he did residency, I guess that implies med school. What? I feel like I didn't know this. Oh, Jesus. Yeah, nice. He is an actual Dr. K. Doctor. He's always said psychiatry. Why did I always assume psychology? I feel like I didn't know this, that he was an actual psychiatrist. Oh, bro. Wait, why am I not hitting him up for my prescriptions? Dr. K, where is this guy at? Hold on. I don't think you can prescribe out of state for Florida. Bro, this is my second day with no Vyvanse, okay? This is a hard life right now, okay? This is a hard life right now. I am flowers for Algernoning back to my original self. It doesn't feel good. Oh my God.
Okay.
Well, I'm a psychiatrist.
You're a psychiatrist. Okay. I don't believe in therapy, and I think it's a scam, and I don't think it's necessary, and I don't think that even if there is anything wrong with my brain, that this is going to be helpful whatsoever.
Why do you take a break? I feel like if you're going to do like a stimulant recreational drug, I feel like I just want to cut my stimulant prescription medication. I feel like it's probably too much. That's just like a feeling I have. I don't know if that's true or not, but it's a feeling I have. I feel like I should just chill for like a couple days. That's my feeling. I don't know.
Believe that men should just get over it and push forward. I think a better use of your time instead of talking about your feelings is working hard and
I don't have a controller plugged in.
That's a better.
You listen to what he's saying. So the better way for men to work on their feelings is just working hard. No, that's just redirecting your you should be letting it out, not redirecting the energy, because that's just another way of suppressing it, right? And no. If you have issues, it's better to just go talk to someone. You have a better time doing that. Going to work and just dedicating all your time to that. You're still angry. You still got those emotions. Now you're just at work. So that just don't listen to that idea. But watch this, chat.
Use of your time than anything that, even if this was productive, my time would have been better spent making some money and getting stronger and getting better. But I want to be convinced that it's useful, because a lot of people are talking about therapy, and people have accused me of being mentally ill quite a bit. They called me mentally ill since I was a child. I get that a lot from the internet, saying Sneako needs to go to therapy. So maybe you can change that perception.
Okay. Something in particular that you were thinking about when we last connected? So I don't know if we reached out to you or you reached out to us, or what exactly happened, but what was there something in particular that you had in mind?
Okay, what do you specialize in? I've seen you talk to some of my friends. You talked to Aiden for a couple hours, and you were able to dissect and figure some stuff out. And I don't know. I think this could be an interesting conversation. I don't really know.
I completely agree. I think this is going to be a very interesting conversation.
Okay.
I think it's. I would. So let me tell you. So you asked, how does this work? So I think there are a couple of things to consider.
Okay.
We already talked about. It's not my place to do a diagnostic assessment of you and say that you are or aren't mentally ill. That being said, sometimes I talk to people and people will have questions about particular things. Sometimes those are related to mental health. And I'm happy to answer questions about particular things or try to help people understand parts of themselves, which a lot of times people think is the same as therapy. That's not the same as therapy. It's something that understanding yourself is a part of therapy, but not all paths of self-understanding are therapy. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. And okay. I really enjoyed hearing your take on how therapy is not real and how people should just tough it out.
It's real, but it's a giant waste of time. There's some people have trauma. Some people have trauma and PTSD. I think like veterans or something like that. Or if you have the really like death, and I can see how it can be effective. But I think most people that go to therapy just like to hear themselves yap in real time. I think that they like their own problems. They like feeling like a main character, and it's just a way to vent. And it's like a pussy way of dealing with your problems. It's an easy way out. I think it's actually. I think people give themselves a lot of credit for going to therapy. Like it's something difficult. So I think it's really easy to sit on a couch and talk. I think what's better is moving forward and trying to shove it down and keep going, because even if you don't shove it down, you're still going to think about it. I think.
Oh my God, it's like literally the most unhealthy mindset a person could possibly have. Jesus.
So people have this idea that you need to process your feelings on a couch next to a guy. You could process your feelings like while you work. A lot of times I'm thinking about the things that I'm dealing with while I'm working. And
how would you even know that you're thinking in the right direction? Because you're in your own head. You need almost that external guidance, especially if you're in a deep rut, right? And that's the thing he's not understanding, saying he doesn't see the value in someone sitting with them and helping them walk through the process, right? To get through the process of what's going on in their thoughts. It's no different. Imagine if you get hired at a job, right? And you have maybe a little bit knowledge in the field, but not a whole lot of knowledge. And they just take you in and plop you right there. No direction, no guidelines, no nothing. You can start doing stuff, but the frustration and the anger and all that stuff is going to build up because you didn't have any support structure around you. It's better off to do it where you have a trainer or a manager who's there to lay out the guidelines, lay out the structure for you, so then you can go out and get the foundation to process other things. It's the same thing with your mind. So if some people, listen, I'm not saying everyone, can't do that or everyone needs a therapist. That's not what we're saying here. Okay. There are people out there who can walk through things and process things on their own without the need for outside help. Right. But I would say people like that are probably very, very few. The overwhelming majority of people need at least some sort of external reference, like someone to help them kind of okay, what's going on? Even just, blurting out to your friend, right? And it doesn't have to be a therapist. It could just be like, yo, man, this happened the other day, and so, and just getting their input, no matter how small or big it is. People do this unconsciously all the time too, as well, right? Sometimes you be chilling there with your friend, and before you know, they're just like, oh, this happened to me and whatnot. They're looking for that your input to help them process what's going on in their mind. So you just saying, you know what? No, you don't need that. It's a waste of time to sit on the couch with somebody to help you go through that. You just have to go put yourself to work. That is definitely the most unhealthy thing I have ever seen. Do you know who the kind of people that do that? The people who end up finding the red pill. That's essentially it. Tony Praying Mantis, shout out to you. This is Antonio. I know it. All right. Ain't no way. Yeah, this is Antonio. Shout out to you. He says, "What's up, Duke? On Monday's live stream was wild. King Riches and that guy with a gun said the N-word and was way out of line and got the stream taken down. Oh, yeah. That was crazy. John. Come on, John, you wilding out, bruh. Okay, so yeah, let's dive into that a little bit. The live stream was taken down. It was at that last part too, like that last 4 minute and 8, like literally a minute before the full live stream was over. He hopped up and did that. Listen, guys, we got to be careful when we're up here on platforms, right? Listen, this is what last time we almost got shut down like this was because somebody came up here and peen flashed the whole thing. That was like a long time ago. But you see how careful we are on this platform. Even though we do what we do, we're very, very careful. So moderators, chat, guys, if you're gonna come up here, please be respectful. I don't listen. I'm gonna tell you that right now. Unless you're referencing or quoting something, I'm not comfortable with F slurs on this platform at all. All right, listen. I got people. I got family members that watch this show. I got people. Listen. We can't be doing that. All right. So just try to keep it as PG-13 as you can. All right. I'm not saying go full on PG-13 because I curse like a sailor. But come on, we gotta leave the F slurs out and definitely don't come up here toting guns. Yeah, that was completely dumb. Listen, we ain't mad at John. He definitely lost some privileges around here, but no, John is still respected. We love him out here. It's just, listen, bro, we can't be doing that. Okay, and listen, it's fine. Don't worry about it. We're able to re-upload the show, so at least you guys got the good parts, and that's all that matters. But please, if we do a call in, please be respectful, okay? And I expect more out of moderators too if you're gonna call in. Don't be out here doing some crazy stuff, because at the end of the day, it really wasn't worth it over a troll. And that was crazy. It had nothing to do with the show too. Like literally, we imagine, chat. We were all together for 4 hours doing the show. It was a fucking roller coaster, and all of that just gone, all because of a situation that had nothing to do with either things we were talking about. It just didn't make any sense. I'm just sitting there like, what? But it's listen, you can't be sweating stuff like that, man. It is what it is, right? I mean, we got to keep it moving. We got to keep it pushing. That's what man. Listen. We just got to make sure we're careful next time. I know some of these other platforms, they like to wild out and whatnot. Over here, it's controlled wilding. Okay, if you could put it that way. But let's get to it.
That could be therapeutic as well. Or prayer.
Sure.
I think prayer is much more therapeutic.
Okay, so when you say therapeutic, yeah, that's great, dude. So I'm excited about this conversation.
You fucked up.
So let me just ask you a couple of things. So when you say that you think therapy is a waste of time,
Yeah.
Why do you think that?
Because you're basically just saying, you know the answer already. I think when you walk into therapy, you already know the answer. Like instinctually, you know what you're supposed to do, and you kind of just want to talk about it to make yourself feel better.
That is so wrong.
So where do you get the idea that therapy is about? Where do you get your impression of what therapy is?
From everybody that talks about constantly, like, I'm from New York, and you all hear all these people in Manhattan, everybody, all the libs, they talk about, like, I was just talking to my therapist. Oh, I just told my therapist. Oh, my therapist, they're calling the therapist. I need to talk.
That's how he just frames it from a political mindset, right? All the libs, in New York, it's just my therapist, right? So he's already seeing it as a lot of these liberals in New York who are talking about therapists as like they're assuming they're more elite than you. Bro, that's not the case. They're not lording the fact that they have a therapist over the head. Maybe some people talk about it too much, but that's definitely not the perspective you should be getting, bro.
My therapist about this. People have relationship problems and like, oh, we need to go talk about it to my therapist for 5 hours and have a deep therapy. Like it's been way more normalized. And I think they prescribe a lot of problems so that you always come back. It's the same reason why the pharmaceutical companies do not want you to be healthy, so that you continue to buy their medicine.
And then he just dives off randomly into conspiracy.
If I go to a therapist, your job is to take my money from my mental health problems. Why would you want me to get better? You don't. You want me to keep coming back and paying you.
God, I hope Dr. K does that mean you should never pay anybody for personal training?
Oh my God.
All you want is for you to get shredded, and then you are what? Like, obviously they want to keep you weak forever, so they can keep like this is true of literally every single person you would pay for help. Why would I go and why do teachers get paid to teach? If they teach everything they know, then you're not going to pay them for teaching anymore. Don't they want to keep you stupid? You'd probably agree with that actually because of education. But it's like,
no, they do. That's why they say drop out of school or don't go to school. Andrew Tate says that specifically. Don't go to school, because these guys think, oh yeah, they just want to keep you in school forever so they can keep doing that. Like, listen, are there issues with the education system? Oh, most definitely. I can list off a ton. Okay, but should people avoid going to school or getting some kind of post education or something like that? Yeah, they should not avoid it at all. They should go. They should go to school and try to learn something. Okay, it's not everything's a conspiracy where someone's trying to just keep you in a system to keep you paying them. Matter of fact, it seems like that's what the red pill does. If anything else, it seems like y'all are projecting, bro. It seems like that's exactly what the red pillars do. Keep you thinking about the red pill with their screwed up talking points, so you can steady paying them super chats and courses and merchandise and all that stuff, bro. Like, just think about it.
So you're going to tell me, oh, come back next week and we'll unpack this and we'll unpack that. I don't need to unpack all this from childhood. I'm 25. I'm going to shove it down and keep going. Why do I?
Stupid. Hey, listen, bro. There's one thing in talking to people, therapy, like, going and seeing someone. But yeah, obviously you're not supposed to stay in a perpetual state of in therapy, right? You're supposed to get it for the need that you need it for and then move on. If you're not moving on, you're going to be in trouble, bro. Because then either that therapist is not helping you progress enough, or you're finding some kind of relationship that shouldn't be had there, bro. Like, I don't get it. But his idea is, let's shove it down, pack it up, just just tuck it in the corner until it just slowly bubbles up and bubbles up and bubbles up, and then I explode in this massive wave of rage and anger. Call it the red pill.
I want to unpack this stuff.
Okay. What has happened when you've tried to unpack it?
Unpack what? Childhood?
So you said that, like, I don't want to unpack it. I want to shove it down.
Yeah,
right?
shove it
so
down.
Like, what is so? Obviously, you'd want to do that for a reason, right? So you've had some experience that makes you prefer.
Well, I'm speaking generally. Like, people will talk about how they go into therapy and unpack all this stuff. It's better. Like, I don't understand why people are 35 reliving all that. What? Well, okay, I get it, but I just think that's a stupid decision.
Well, what do you get when you say you get it? Why do you think all these stupid people are in therapy?
What do you mean, get it?
Like, well, you said you get it. So I'm curious, what do you get? Why do you think all these people are in therapy if it's such a colossal waste of time and essentially a monetary leech?
Because it's easier to talk about things rather than find an action that's gonna. It's easier to talk your way out of a problem than work your way out of it. Working is hard. Pushing forward and doing things that are difficult, that's harder. Right? Like I consider the gym therapeutic. I consider sparring. I spar quite a bit. I consider that therapeutic.
Yeah, so I think those things are therapeutic too. And I mean, I'll be the first to say that I don't think therapy is therapeutic for everyone. I think that the concerns that you have are actually like quite valid in terms of, I think sometimes therapy goes on way longer than it needs to.
He's right about that too.
I don't really think that, in my experience, most therapists that I know are not interested in keeping people there for monetary reasons. And this very simple reason for that is there's no shortage of patients. So if you stop paying me, there's like literally a line out the door of like hundreds of people. Like the average waiting list for a therapist is like 3 or 4 months.
Wait, you don't get it. So when you see like a blue-haired transgender walk in, you don't like rub your hands together like, oh my God. No, like when you see like a dude that looks like a girl with kitten ears.
It's so crazy, like the lack of self-awareness. When he's like, what about all these mentally unhealthy people that are walking around? Like, meanwhile, he's saying, like, I almost think that it's a troll because Sneako is perfectly saying the worst possible things, to have the like worst possible mindset, to be the most mentally unhealthy person you could possibly be. Like Sneako's saying those things, not like the random, like blue-haired trans person. Like you're the one that is saying like literally the most unhealthy things in the world.
The dude just literally got done saying, I'm gonna pack it up and shove it down as low as it can go, bro, and then just focus on work. It's like, no, dog. No, that is definitely an unhealthy mindset. This is how, when people are getting like situationships or relationships, people get hurt, okay? Because they're pent up anger and rage, or that might be the reason that prevents other people from getting into the relationships, right? Perfect good example is the red pill. A lot of these guys are doing exactly what Sneako is saying, right? Packing it up and shoving it down, and they redirect their attention to the red pill. But then you look at this stuff, not even just red pill, just like the whole manosphere in general. Throw the whole thing away, right? But when you look at them in general, and when they're talking about women, when they're discussing things with women, when they're interacting with other women, right? You see there's an underlying level of anger. And a lot of people have been asking, are you like, that's why a lot of these questions, who hurt you, what, things like that. A lot of people, because they can see the underlevel anger that's buried deep down. And then lastly is, you notice how he just makes it all about like politics, right? I won't say politics, but he's saying, referring to like blue hair liberals or whatnot, acting like they're the only ones, that out here like saying crazy things or doing crazy things. But look at what you just said. You're a freaking hypocrite, dog.
What makes me go like this is listening to you talk about therapy.
Yeah.
I was 10 minutes late today, guys. And the reason why I was late, I want to be honest. The reason why I was late is because I pre-watched this whole video. I am a pre-watcher, and I watched this all. I did here.
Because I think that there's like a lot of stuff to talk about that excites me.
Okay.
It's not the blue-haired transgenders, man. It's
okay.
dudes who focus on shoving it down in action and don't care to engage with their internal environment, which is a little bit of a judgment because I don't know that that's actually the case with you. But I mean, this excites me.
Okay.
But anyway, what do you think about what I said about, their waiting lists? 50% of therapists don't take new patients. Like, we're full up. Like, we don't need your particular money because there's like tons of people that are waiting to give us their money.
Okay.
What do you think about that?
Fair, but maybe the whole system works together. The pharmaceutical companies, the therapists, they all work on the fact that people's mental health, people are always talking about mental health. They all profit off of that. In a world where people fix their problems with prayer and with gym, that whole industry would never exist at all. So even though you might not need more patients, it's all based on the fact that everybody's diagnosing themselves in real time.
Well, so let me ask you this. So when you said fix their problems with prayer, how does that work?
Well, I just came back from Mecca, and you can see people, you call it suju when you put your your head to the floor.
Oh my God.
He's still pretending to be Muslim.
Yeah.
Oh,
And the funny thing is, everyone is just accepting of this. No one is calling out Sneako. Again, listen, he might he'll keep up this grift. All right. It is what it is. I don't think he has a choice but to keep up the grift. But yeah, he's still a fake Muslim, bro. I mean, I'm surprised he's not getting called out, but I guess we can only just watch.
God, kill me.
And you see people sometimes like sobbing. Or when you go to the masjid on Friday, I'm going to go tomorrow at 1 p.m. for Jummah. You see people like crying, and it's because they're definitely thinking of things that they're asking God for certain things to be fixed. And I consider that therapeutic. That same type of tear that they crying that they might do in therapy, instead they're connecting with God. I think all those problems, like opening up about unpacking stuff like that, you should unpack it with God. You know,
okay. What about people who aren't religious and don't believe in God? All right, not everybody has. I guess his answer would probably be, well, you gotta believe in God. You gotta believe in God. You gotta go to Mecca, right? No, God isn't the end all be all, bruh. Okay, there's serious people walking around with serious problems out there, and some probably think they're actually talking to God, and God is talking back. That's not it. All right, so that just God situation doesn't work out for anyone. We need actual process here to help people work through their issues.
I see them and the way that they are. And I felt it too when I was in Mecca, for example, and praying next to the Kaaba. I really felt everything that was going on in my head and everything. It's not like I have to shut it down. I know everything that's there, but it becomes present when you're in prayer. You feel it. You're thinking about it. You're reminded of everybody you love. You're reminded of your past. You're reminded of your flaws. You're reminded of what you want to do better on. You're reminded of your fears and everything. And then you look to God for strength and for guidance and to keep you on the straight path.
Okay. So let me just make sure I heard you. So when you pray, so it sounds like you feel a lot of positive emotions.
And negative too. Like I wouldn't say positive too, but like everything.
I wasn't done. So you said you feel a lot of love, you feel a lot of fear, right? You think about people that you love. You also think about actions that you want to take and places that you want to go. So you have goals that you think of,
right?
And then what? Help me understand this part about God. Where does God enter the picture?
I would prefer, I can understand why therapy is helpful for a lot of people, but I think it's better to go and talk that out, talk about your trauma and your past to God rather than to a man.
Okay. So I'm not trying to debate you. Okay. So I'm not trying to like catch you or something. I'm confused. Because now you're saying you think that therapy can be helpful for other people, but prayer is superior.
Yes.
So there's some benefit to therapy because it sounds like a lot of I'm assuming that you think a lot of the mechanisms are you talk about your positive emotions, you talk about your negative emotions, you talk about your goals. You can do that with a person, but it's better to do it with God.
Yes.
What makes it better with God?
Because I don't believe in confessing your deepest, darkest secrets and sins. I think that you're going to...
What does he think therapy is? Confessing your deepest, darkest secrets and... Bro, Jesus. What are you talking about in therapy?
Embellish the truth. I went to therapy one time.
I think he's doing it because of from the religious sense, bro. Like he's thinking about it from like a confessional. Because there ain't no way, bro. And honestly, once you feel like you just being judged, like I don't know. It's just weird. It's just talking it out with God. I mean, listen, man. Maybe you feel like something's there and you're feeling something respond to you, right? But at the end of the day, man, it's still better to have that physical, resource there that can help respond to you, and validate or, kind of help you process what you're thinking, because you could be saying whatever you could say to God. Matter of fact, how would you even know you're talking to God? It could be Satan, right? It could be Satan just chilling right there, like yeah. Don't forgive nobody. Yeah, go earn some money, get more clout, buy a Lambo. It could be like you don't know. Okay, so listen, yeah, you're religious, fine, talk to God, whatever. Listen, I still think. But for your followers' sake, that we know they're definitely 10-year-olds, it should be better to at least start getting them within the groove of seeking professional help. Okay. Honestly, I think you would save more young men's life doing that than just what you just said. Just hands down 100%. Kevon Slims with the $5 super chat. Shout out to you. He says, hey, Duke, you should have asked King if he ever kissed Pearl's funky toes. Bruh, I couldn't ask anything. I couldn't ask any questions. Bruh came up here and just kept talking for 2 straight hours, bro. I don't, like, I had to, like, I almost had to troll to like get him to like chill, right? I don't know what else to tell you, bro. He's like a clown. He's an utter clown. Like, it is what it is. Once I knew he didn't accept the deal, right? And it's still on the table, bro. Any day, anytime you want, all right? We get you down to LA, all right? Matter of fact, if you don't want to go LA, anywhere in the United States of your choosing, we'll set something up over there, bro. Offer still stands. But like the fact that you couldn't answer the simple question to an all expense paid trip, including your hotel, bro, for a fade, you're not serious. You're not a serious person. All right. You talking about you got little boys running around there in the UK, bro. Get out of here. Just pathetic, this guy. I couldn't understand it, bro. With that kind of attitude, he was most definitely sucking on Pearl's toes. Are you kidding me? That's why Pearl let him go. He was most definitely sucking on her toes, bro. The guy's a weirdo, bro. And we ain't done. He actually did a reaction video to the live stream we had. Y'all know that? He actually did a reaction video to the live stream we did and then tried to put his little spin or commentary on it. It's just like, bro, you you look like a bitch. You oh my God, bro. We might even get into it in another episode, chat. If you want to see that, put a 1 in the chat. But like we might get into it. It's just weird. It's like, why? My boy trying to get ahead of the story, huh? Is that what you're doing? Like crazy. You know what, chat? You know what I realized? When I went in, I saw that was his most viewed video since his past 3 uploads. Chat, that was his most viewed video since his past 3 uploads. If you think I'm capping, go check it out. Right? I'm like, yo, what is this the most viewed video you've had in the past 3 uploads? And you saying I'm a clout chaser? Nigga, hold up. Hey, time out. It looks like this small channel over here is keeping your ass relevant, okay? So I don't know. That's what I'm like, should I even follow this? Like, why? What the fuck? Why even bother? But whatever. It's all for show anyways. It is what it is.
I was 19 and I was talking to this woman. I was basically like head over heels about this girl. I was in college and like it was just a lot of things. I was just like going through like so I decided, all right, like everybody's doing this therapy thing, I'll pay her. And then she had giant tits. She was like really gorgeous. And so I ended up embellishing the story.
Hold up. What?
Embellish the truth. I went to therapy one time. I was 19 and I was talking to this woman. I was basically like head over heels about this girl. I was in college and like it was just a lot of things. I was just like going through like so I decided, all right, like everybody's doing this therapy thing, I'll pay her. And then she had giant tits. She was like really gorgeous. And so I ended up embellishing the story. And instead of like actually being honest, I was just trying to like, I was like spitting game on her like I was on a date. And I realized in that moment, like I can't fully be honest with the person because the only person you could really be honest with is God. To a person, you're always going to be, there's going to be a level of entertainment. There's going to be a level of lying. You're going to try to make sure they're engaged.
What are you talking about? Whoa! So you telling me, bro, your first therapy experience, the moment you got in there, you were already you already folded. You were already simping for the therapist, all right, bro. Oh my goodness, dog. Don't you realize you screwed up that whole situation? So what gives you the right to come out here and tell other young men therapy's a scam? Therapy's a money, hungry scheme to keep you in a perpetual state of weakness or whatever the hell conspiracy theory they can drum up. Your first experience was your own undoing, bro. You simped. You wouldn't most likely what ended up happening is because you went to see her out of a breakup from the last girl you were simping over. You tried to transfer all that energy to her. So you weren't even fully being honest. Let's just be real. And that's a situation where you're supposed to be honest. All right, they actually have contracts and whatnot to make sure that they're keeping it a peace. So unless you talk about murdering people or something like that, then they might they might have to go tell the authorities or even hurting yourself or something like that, right? But other than that, these guys are obligated to be dedicated to you. So you walking in there with the intention of being dishonest from the get-go, that's your fault. not anybody else's. More D with the $5 which shout out to you. Says new stipulation of boxing match. Winner must watch Pearl's OnlyFans. What? hey, bro. Hey, you know what? King Richards might actually be motivated by that. If it'd get him to America, if it'd bring him to America, yeah, he'll be like, I'll do it. I'll do it. Okay, yo, it's a free trip to America, dog. Like I don't get it. It's like OnlyFans content if it's released. More D, bro. What? What is this, dog? What is this, dog? Hey, I don't know if that's yeah. You know what? That's a big motivator to not lose. God damn. Imagine Pearl doing OnlyFans. Oh, oh my Lord! Like what?
Ego is going to be involved. When I'm talking to God, I don't have any ego. There's nothing. There's nothing that I need to hide, or it's just because God is all knowing. God's the best of planners, so He's going to know. And I even noticed that a lot when I was praying in Mecca. I felt all the ego and the little blockades that I had in my head, and the barriers that you have when you talk to a person. They're absent when I talk to God.
You don't have the skills to be open with anybody else. That's your problem. Matter of fact, I'm not even sure if you know how to open up to people, right? And watch, this therapist does a perfect job. Without even trying, he basically punctures through this guy's, like, this thin veneer he puts on over himself, right? He just punctures through it. But like what Sneako is saying, or basically admitting, he doesn't have the skills to be open with people and just be open and honest. Right? He just always feels like he has to hide or shield some part of himself or lie about some part of himself. That's all insecurities right there, right? I mean, that just is what it is. He doesn't realize he's doing that, but it's exactly what he's doing.
Okay. Can I think for a second?
Yeah.
How's this conversation so far, by the way?
Interesting.
Okay. So let me just make sure I understood. So you tried therapy once, and because your therapist had big tits, it sounds like you activated a different mode of relating to that person.
Yeah.
So you started like hitting on her.
I remember like telling the story, and I was like, even my gestures, I was like, all right, so boom. So I was at the spot, and then we really did it. And like, I'm making it like, you know, I got this girl and I'm doing my thing. And I was just like talking like I was talking to, like, I was trying to come off cool.
Yeah. So would you say that what you did for that hour with that person was therapy?
Got him.
Bad therapy.
But whose fault was that?
What made it bad?
Actually, think about it. Like, I did learn some things, and I didn't need to go back anymore. So,
what? Oh, yeah, he's laughing.
Yeah, but I think the reason it was effective was because I realized that I don't need therapy. Like, it just helped me realize that this is unnecessary. So I did get to talk things out. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Well, hold on.
Okay.
I'm honestly, I'm not trying to like debate you or like, I have no interest in proving you wrong. Honestly, I have no interest in that. Okay. It's just, I'm just like kind of curious because here you are saying, okay, I tried therapy, but it sounds like, it's kind of like saying like, okay, swimming is a waste of time. And then you ask me like, why do you think it's a waste of time? Well, I went to the beach and like, I never really got in the water. I just hung out on the sand, and like swimming is a waste of time.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
so you went there, you did something, but I mean, you're telling me that you treated this person, you didn't do therapy. You started flexing.
Yep.
For her.
Yeah.
Right? That's not therapy.
Okay.
that
now,
dude trying to mac on a therapist, dog. You like, this is crazy that he thinks that's a legitimate experience. And he even what he said, actually, he's saying that, oh well, you know, I just felt like I knew everything and I realized that I didn't need therapy. How? You just, if anything, that's like a picture perfect moment of exposing exactly what just happened. You went in there, instead of being your true self, instead of setting yourself into a mode where you're willing to be honest with someone to help you work through an issue, you immediately slid into a juvenile mode of thinking because you saw big titties and you're like, oh my God, well, your brain got scrambled, and then you're trying to mac on her like you would do any other girl. You screwed up that experience. And the fact that you didn't even realize that you were at fault for that, that is in itself a problem. So that by definition means you don't know everything. You didn't know anything. You just exposed yourself. Oh my God.
And I think that that's fair, right? Because you're also saying that, okay, like the problem with therapy is that when you go, you can't be completely vulnerable or honest with another human being.
Yeah.
Because, and so some kind of script, and I would guess if I asked you, like, okay, let's say that there wasn't a female therapist with big tits. Let's say the therapist was like, I don't know, a middle-aged dude. You would still be activating some kind of script with them.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
And so what I'm hearing you say is that the cool thing with God is that there's no scripts.
Right.
So I'm kind of curious about something. So like one of the advantages of therapy, right, is that there's another human being there. Now that's a disadvantage because now ego enters the picture. Maybe you're trying to impress them. Maybe you don't want to be vulnerable, like totally fine. But there's also an advantage, which is that there's a person there, right? So they're able to listen. They're able to respond. They're able to interact. They're able to observe. And maybe I'm making an assumption here, so I'm going to ask about this. Do you think that God does those things?
Yes.
Observes and listens and
talks back?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, hell no. How would you know, dog? Listen, you can talk to God. I can be talking to animals or whatever the hell it is. But if animals and God start talking back, you probably want to go see somebody, all right? Or maybe go take a vacation to a place with nice soft walls and a straitjacket. I don't know, but that's not the same thing as having a real human being there, just dedicated to you for that time, listening and understanding, and most importantly, not judging. And that's what you see about this guy and what makes him pretty effective right now. Because you notice how like he's rebuttaling the Sneako, but he's not being confrontational, even though Sneako's trying to basically bait him into like going back and forth. He's not trying to do that. Versus us over here, we're responding to what he's saying, but we're also kind of criticizing him, right? So that's why, like, he probably we're different. That's why we're not therapists, right? So I'm not saying what we're saying is wrong, but you have someone who's sitting there, not judging you, right? Not saying anything. They're just actually trying to understand. There's a huge benefit to that, and you kind of, that's very important. Just giving up to this imaginary God. And listen, for most people, they may not see it as imaginary, all right? But I can say, you know, God is over my shoulder right now, and so is my imaginary friend Kyle. Some of y'all might think, oh yeah, that makes sense, the God thing, but the Kyle thing, you're crazy, right? Again, some people might think, oh, dude, you see things besides you, you're crazy, right? So again, chat, like, this is what I'm saying. He's giving advice to a whole generation of men, or young, not even men, these are young boys that he shouldn't be giving advice to until he has a real experience, a real therapeutic experience with another human being.
In what way?
If you want something, or you're looking for some sort of guidance, you can ask God, and God will respond.
How?
Yeah.
Not in the way that a human does, but there is a response. And
how?
It's kind of instinctual.
Nah, bro.
And like he'll tell you what you should be doing. Because I think deep down you always do know the answer.
That's dumb. So are you trying to say that deep down we're God? Are you one of them niggas? Just, oh, we're all gods. Yeah. Like, I don't buy to that shit. That's crazy talk. That is crazy talk. Anybody walking around talking about we're God? Yeah. Chill on that, brother. Relax. Okay. You're not God. You're not that. You're not him. You are not him. Okay. But like, what are you saying, dude? Like, you know, deep down we know the answer. So are you calling yourself God? Dude. Again, more ridiculous bullshit. This guy is in charge of an army of a bunch of 11-year-olds. Just keep that in mind.
So when you say, so you're saying that God will tell you, and then you're saying deep down you know the answer. So are we saying that deep down the voice that's talking to you is God? Is that you, or is that God? Or am I not understanding the?
Well, I mean, we're all God's creation, so we have.
Why, I'm kind of curious, I guess, with this mentality, if you were to ask Sneako, why bother going to any church service? Why go to a mosque? Why go to temple? Why do anything? You can just sit at home and talk to God the whole time. Why the fuck do we need any kind of teachers or scholars or biblical anything at all? Right?
And not only that, right? When he's saying that God will respond back, but not in the way a human does, at least with a human, you can get a direct response, right? Or like a feedback of some sort because they're there and it can validate that you exist and you can validate that as well. But with God, it almost leaves anything open to interpretation. You can walk out there, pray to God, and see a bird fly over your head and poop on somebody else's car and say, oh, that's a sign. You can take anything for a sign. It's so vague, it's not even funny, right? And it just leaves people basically, what do you call it? Groundless. You're not grounded at all. You're just floating around here looking at things and misinterpreting things, right? You can listen. I could pray right now, right, and pray and ask for something, and then walk out and see the shape of the clouds align some way, and some people might take that as a sign. And even though it's probably not just coincidence that the clouds form that way, but people will start looking for signs in places they shouldn't be. All right, that's the problem with the delusion you're spewing out there. Okay, listen, ain't nothing about religion or whatnot. You can believe and pray to your God, but still look to your people, look to people around you, the community, to kind of help you process things. Like, this is crazy.
There's a sort of connection. I think deep down you all know, because we're all born pure, and then we start to become corrupted with sin. We start to become corrupted by what's around us, and then that's what creates the blockade. So, like, behind all the ego, behind the mess and the programming, you know what the truth is. But you can ask God when you drop it, and you're able to hear his guidance.
Huh?
Okay, what makes it easier or harder to hear his guidance? I think it's actually in a lot of ways it's harder. It's not easy to be vulnerable like that. It's not easy to get to that point. It took me a long time, but I do know it's possible after consistently praying.
How?
Right. So what makes it easier or harder to hear God's voice? Because you said sometimes it's easier and sometimes it's harder. I'd agree.
Well, you have to full submission to God. And there's a lot of, like, sometimes people aren't able to do that because they're sinning, or sometimes people aren't able to do that because they're too angry, they're too emotional. It depends on what state you are in life. But if you can get to that point, then you're able to communicate with God.
Okay. So I'm hearing that, I'm with you that if you're able to get to that point, it's great, right? So you hear some kind of voice or some kind of knowing or instinct or connect with the divinity within you. Is it cool if I call it that?
Yeah.
Okay. But I'm also hearing that it's not entirely clear what the mechanism or methodology to connect with God is. So there's certain things that get in the way, maybe anger, maybe sin. But even if I'm not angry or I'm not sinning, does that guarantee I will hear God's voice?
No.
Or right? So then what else goes into it?
Fear. It could be like sometimes, for example, well, I'll give you Islam, for example, because I'm a Muslim, and a lot of people connect with God in different ways. And I don't think any of that is inherently wrong. But for example, when you pray in Islam, you're supposed to make wudu before, which is cleansing yourself. You're supposed to wash your arms, wash your feet. You're supposed to wash your face, your ears, and everything. You're supposed to be in a clean state. Even when you pray in Mecca, you're supposed to be wearing a white garment that's clean. Like there's a way to purify yourself and make sure you have true intentions. Even when you're washing yourself before prayer, you're supposed to make sure, like, the whole point is to make clear intentions that I'm going to pray, or else your prayer isn't accepted. Like, even
those are all like rituals, dog. Washing your hands and doing this stuff, that's all rituals. But how is that guaranteeing that if you perform these rituals, God is going to talk to you? Because like you could put on a white robes and walk around and, you know, cry and do whatever it is you're doing over there. All right, but how is that a guarantee that God's going to start talking to you because you've done these things? For instance, thousands of people have probably done that. How is God talking to them too? Like, how would you know any of this stuff, bro? Go see a therapist, dog. Like, please, this is unhealthy speak.
When you get on your knees and put your head to the floor, you can't just go through the motions and expect to be able to connect with God. You have to have clear intentions to do that. So I think there's a lot of things. If you're emotional or if you don't have faith, sometimes people just don't have faith. Like there's a lot of things that can block your faith.
Okay. So then let's say I'm having trouble, right? Let's say I don't really have faith, or I'm afraid, or I'm angry. Actually, forget about that. I realized I was slipping into a a debating kind of mode, so I'll just say what I'm going to say.
Oh, he's good.
So
he's good. He's look at Sneako smirking over there because he almost caught Sneako. Like Sneako almost caught him going back and forth, and he caught himself. This guy, and I like him. This guy's good. This therapist, Dr. K, man, he's really good because he caught himself because he knows that's exactly what Sneako's trying to do, bait him into a back and forth. But he's almost trying to be impartial because once Sneako starts getting the feeling that that Dr. K is being judgmental or trying to, rebuff his ideas and counter it with his talking points, Sneako's immediately going to get defensive. And that's exactly what he's trying not to do. That's why he's being very, very passive right now. And he's making sure he catches himself before he does that. He's good.
Oh, here's where I think there's an advantage to therapy. So I completely agree with everything that you've said. Okay. I think the challenge, though, is that what you're sort of...
Sometimes when I listen, fuck, it sounds annoying to analyze because it sounds like I'm just going to shit on Sneako. Sometimes when I hear Sneako give answers to questions, sometimes I feel like he's in a mode where he feels like this is the answer that he's supposed to give, rather than like, are you actually thinking about this particular, at least with regards to religion, or actually thinking about like how you're supposed to respond? Or I'm sorry, are you thinking about like, what do you actually feel? Like, what do you feel and what are you doing when you're approaching these issues? Like, how do you prepare to pray to God, right? And it's like, well, I try to approach humbly. I try to approach with honesty. Instead of that, it's like, well, when you approach God, what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to kneel and you say 4 prayers in the book. And the reason why you say these prayers is because they prepare your mind for when you go to God. And the reason why when you're preparing your mind, and it's like, whoa, bro, what? I don't know what am I in Sunday school right now? Like, it feels like he has a really hard time. And maybe it's just the way that he talks, or maybe it's like
Destiny.
I don't want to say like a grift or whatever, but it's like, just explain, like, what are the feelings or emotions or processes, like, rather than giving me this textbook answer that you feel like you are obligated to give I don't know.
No. He gives those answers because that's it. That's literally it, right? He feels like, again, part of it you can say it's insecurity or whatever it is. Maybe he wants to sound smarter than what he actually is, but he has to give answers in the way of that because by definition he can't be honest. All right, he always has to put on a face. He wants to. He's basically trying to put up a mirror and try to like. It's almost like maybe not even a mirror is the right way to do it. But he's wired to basically, be antagonistic. That's what he's wired to do, like to just try to say things to trigger you. And it's either attention seeking or something. But like that's exactly what he's doing. He has to frame things in that way to get you to confront him. That's the word I was looking for. He's very confrontational in all of his responses. Okay, you could tell when he responds, when you responded to like the way Sneako responds, where you got to wash your hair and do this. See, that triggered me, right? I'm like, well, wait, that's a ritual, bro. Like, if I do that, does that mean I'm God's gonna talk to me? There are plenty of people who do stuff like that. They fast and they pray for 12 days or whatever it is. Doesn't mean that God's gonna talk to them. So again, it forces people to like go back and forth with them. And I don't know. Maybe he does that intentionally. He's just weird.
Talking about is like difficulties within you. So like, let's just take faith, for example. So not having faith is like really tricky, right? Because
maybe it's the dog shit religion he's pushing. Well, I mean, he's not actually religious too, right? The fact that it's a grift makes it probably a lot harder for him to connect on an emotional level as well.
That's facts.
Right? Because he's just like repeating the answers that he's been told that he thinks he's supposed to give. Yeah.
Faith is not something that is born of logic. It's born of faith. It's the belief in something. And if you really look at it, technically, you can't have faith. You can't have faith if you have knowledge, because knowledge is when you know something. Faith is when you believe something, right? You have faith in something. Agreed there? And I'm not trying to argue with you. I'm laying out how my understanding.
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah. So I think the big advantage of therapy is that you've got like another human being. So if you have other problems, right? So like if you have, let's say, fear or anger or a lack of faith, that there's actually like another human being there to help you with those barriers.
Right. But humans are inherently flawed and we're never going to be perfect. So
absolutely.
A therapist's advice is always going to be inferior to God's, because God's all knowing and God is perfect and God's more intelligent than us. But I don't think that there's any human that's better than me or smarter or that knows anything that I don't know, because we're all created equal.
That's ego.
So, I mean, it's good to kind
of. That's ego right there. Absolutely. There are people out there that are smarter than you. Are you kidding me? To even think that, you're dumb. They went to school for this shit. So you got to give them that trust that they know what the hell they're doing. All right. You don't go. What are you talking about? You go to a doctor and automatically know what the hell what's wrong with you because you went to WebMD, right? Is that what it is? No, they're obviously going to do their diagnostic and know what's going on because they're proficient in that field of study. So you just saying that everybody, you can't really trust their knowledge or advice because everybody's at the same level. No one is greater than me except for God. It's like, bruh, that's get your mind out of your own head, bro. Get your mind out of your own head. There are people out there that are in positions that are better than you and they can help you get there. This is just such a childish way of thinking. It's not even funny. Shane with the $2 in the chat says, Duke, this is God. Have mercy on King bitches. Listen, God, I'm getting the sound right now, okay? But listen, I'm gonna have to consult the leopard over here because he made fun of the leopard, and I don't know. I don't know if I can ease up on him. I'll see. I'll pray over it. How about that? I'm going to hell, bro.
of voice those things. And that's why that therapy session that I had with that woman with the giant breasts was effective, because I realized something. She didn't tell me anything. It was just me talking that made me realize that this is useless and I don't need this. I think when you talk to something,
hold on a second. So once again, I don't disagree with any of your premises. I come to a different conclusion. So you kind of said, I'm with you that human beings are flawed, right? And so, but just because a human being is flawed doesn't mean that a human being can't help another human being.
True. Yeah, I'm not saying it's completely useless. I'm just saying that
it's mostly useless.
Yeah, because we could actually say the same thing for guys like him or Roll Tomasi or Myron, Fresh and Fit, all these guys, right? We can say the same thing, like, oh yeah, these guys just sitting there talking for hours to a bunch of these young incels out there. Yeah, I don't believe that actually helps. I think it's trash. I think they're not saving lives with that shit. It's all bullshit. But then you guys will turn around and say, no, the red pill actually works. It actually does. Men need to hear other men who are going through the same issues, and then they'll give you all this little spiel and bullshit. But at the end of the day, that's exactly what you guys are pretending to do. Like, you guys are basically acting like internet therapists for these men that are actually not helping because you guys don't have that particular experience. So again, I got a question: how many people or lives you're actually saving or helping here, especially if you guys have this type of mentality when it comes to getting people to a better position in life?
Okay.
And I think people like the echo chamber and have a certain level of narcissism. I think if you
even in an Islamic context, seeking knowledge is a requirement in Islam, and this blind faith is very much looked down upon. Yeah, I want to be really careful because I don't want to speak much to Islam. I can't. I can speak from a Christian perspective. And given that we're all like members of the book or whatever, I feel like there's probably going to be a lot of similarities, but I don't want to say for sure, right? But it reminds me of I'm pretty sure I've told this joke on stream before, that like a man is a huge flood has overtaken a city, and a man is sitting in his house. And a few people come by in a car and they're like, hey, we're leaving the city, let's go. And the guy's like, no, God is going to protect me. Nothing will happen. And then the floodwaters begin to rise. The guy moves up to the second floor. He's sitting in his bedroom. A couple in a boat comes by and like, hey, hop in. We're leaving the city. There's floodwaters. And the man is like, no, God is going to protect me. And then eventually the man climbs into his attic and he's on the roof. So the floodwaters are overtaking his entire house. And then a helicopter comes by and the guy is like, hey, hop in the helicopter or you're going to drown and die. And the guy's like, no, I have strong faith in God. He's going to protect me. And then eventually the floodwaters rise. The guy drowns. He's at the gates with St. Peter. And, finally he gets in and he talks to God. And he's like, God, I prayed to you. I had strong faith in you. Why didn't you help me? And then God was like, what are you talking about? I sent a car, a boat, and a helicopter, and you didn't get in, dumb fuck. And then he smacks the guy upside the face, bends him over, and he reams him with his 32-inch holy.
Wait, what the fuck? Oh my God, bro. Yo, Destiny, where we going? Yo, listen, listen, bro, that just threw me off guard because I actually kind of knew the story was talking about. At least the one I heard was the one with like a guy drowning in the ocean, and then a bunch of boats go by and he didn't take it. There are multiple versions of that story, but that's interesting. Dude just took it left, like, yeah, he just bent them over. And, hey, yo, chill. Hey, Destiny, chill with the chick. Yo, was happy on that, dog. But yeah, absolutely, man. Again, for people who are religious, people like, how do you not know that, that person speaking to you or they're wired to help you walk through it isn't, a sign from God, right? So maybe Sneako rejecting therapy is him rejecting, a sign from God. I don't know, right? But there's a bunch of different ways to think about it. But one thing I will say, and this is all religions, I don't think they encourage you to seek knowledge, because if you seek knowledge and start thinking things from a more realistic perspective, you would leave religion. You would just walk away, because then there's just a bunch of things that won't make any sense. So again, I don't know. I don't know if I agree with that statement, but again, that's just me.
But yeah, this idea that like you do nothing and God does everything, like you're supposed to be proactive in your life and you're supposed to do things to like seek knowledge and wisdom and, the application of prayer and rituals. And I just, at least in a Christian setting, or at least in a Catholic setting, I would say, I could never imagine like a priest or a Jesuit or a preacher or any type of holy person say like, oh yes, my son, don't seek wisdom from any other area in your life. Just keep praying to God, and that's all you need to do, and he'll tell you everything. Like that's just such a bizarre statement. I would be surprised because I feel like in Islam, I feel like you have a lot of like holy scholars and everything as well. I'd be surprised if it was much different in Islam.
Like that guy that spits all over the place. What's the name of that spitting dude that Andrew Tate was quoting? What's his name again? Muhammad. Hey, y'all remember him? The dude was like, who's spitting all over the place, or Sleeps, the other dude, right? That look like he's about to fall asleep at any moment. What's that? Yeah, if them your scholars, bro, them not it, dog. Them not it, dog. That dude got anger problems. Dude over here on Pierce Morgan talking about somebody else's daughter, like that. Yeah, Muhammad Ajab, that guy. Yeah, the spitting and king over here, just spat, spat. Like, yo, what the hell? What? Listen, bro. Let's say if I went back to church, right, and I saw my priest acting like that, yeah, I'm not coming back. Yeah, you know what? I'm done. Yeah, I'm talking. Hell no.
I seriously doubt they would say what do they call them? Imam, or I don't know what the fuck your leaders are called. But I seriously doubt you would go into a mosque and they'd be like, oh yes, child, like just pray to Allah, pray to God, and he'll tell you everything. Don't seek wisdom anywhere else. Like they just seem so
confessions in Islam, like they do in Catholic Church, right? Do they got a confession booth? Do you confess to who do you? I don't think they do, right? I don't know. That'd be interesting to find out, though. But I know in like Catholic settings, right? You gotta go for a confessional, right? So you gotta go in the booth, and the father's on the other side. So I mean, that could be considered religious therapy. I mean, at least there's somebody there listening to you, so that would make sense.
Wild. I don't know, but who knows?
You keep going back to therapy like that long without any solution. You just kind of like hearing yourself talk.
Well, I mean, when you say that long without any kind of solution, like what's your understanding of like the course and outcomes around therapy?
There's a lot of people that I'm sure you know these people too. They have their therapist on speed dial, and they talk about the therapist like they're friends.
Oh, cute. Okay, sorry. Here's a fun story I've been thinking about recently. This is from aliyabdal.com. One day, the Prophet Muhammad noticed a Bedouin leaving his camel unattended without tying it. He asked the Bedouin, is it Bedouin or Bedouin? Bedouin? Why don't you tie your camel? The Bedouin answered, I place my trust in God. The Prophet said, trust in God, but tie your camel. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's so dumb. Like, why would you, like, again, people, I think you put too much trust in God and not a little bit in common sense, right? I'm not saying don't put all your trust in God, but tie your fucking camel, bro. Like, what are you talking about? Like somebody else is not gonna come out here and steal it. You just presenting a wonderful opportunity for somebody else, and they could be like, yo, thank you, God, a free camel. Like, chill, bro. Tie your shit up, all right? Yeah, God, have your faith, have all that stuff, but let's be practical here, okay? The same thing, especially some of y'all natural healers or whatnot, or whatever it is. Listen. You can have all the faith in the world, but go see a doctor, okay? It is what it is. We got antibiotics and antidotes and shit for a reason, okay?
So yeah, in Islam, it's probably the same thing, right?
Friends.
I don't think that's the majority of people. I think that is a tiny fraction of people. Okay. I would guess less than 5%. So I know that, for example, like part of our training as therapists is that we set very clear boundaries. We're not your friend. So you're not supposed to be texting us all the time. Mm. So when a patient texts or calls me at like 8 p.m., I'll answer because they don't usually do that. And then I'll ask them, hey, can this wait until our appointment? Or do you really need to talk to me now? Or do you need to go to the emergency room? Or like, what's going on? Mm-hmm. So I don't think that because a lot of what I'm really confused about is that I think a lot of your understanding of therapy is based on, I'm not quite sure what you've heard, I guess.
I guess my understanding is it's a lot of liberals who,
oh my God,
who prioritize feelings over facts. The people that
I feel so bad for people whose brains get so heavily politicized that they like can't evaluate the world. You're like, bro, what's your favorite type of ice cream? Do you like mint chocolate chip? It's like, ice cream. Well, ever since the liberals started, blah, like. Did you ever watch Game of Thrones? Well, I heard that George R. R. Martin. I heard that he's a feminist. So no, and it's like your brain is like Sneako is like the ultimate product of what I talked about. I think like a year or two ago, where it feels like everything today is so politicized. Like every single thing is fucking politicized. You can't.
The reason why that is, Destiny. Listen. The reason why that is because when y'all got mad at me when I said that the red pill is not dead, it just shifted the politics, or at least a bunch of them became Republicans, right? You don't know it, but that's essentially what happened. I wasn't joking, because a lot of their talking points and the conspiracy theories they were toting married well with a lot of the stuff on the conservative and the far right stuff, right? So when you see that merger, when these guys are, especially COVID was the end, all right? Because when people saw, like, because of the right wing, especially some people on the moderate rights, they saw like because there was some funky stuff that went on with COVID. You can't even deny that. But like, I throw that up the government mishap and a bunch of idiots trying to figure out what's going on without knowing anything. But what people who don't understand, though, they would see it as some kind of grand conspiracy and say, oh yeah, they're gonna put us in FEMA camps and they're gonna give us vaccine passports and it's the mark of the beast. And it's like, whoa, hey, yo. Okay, and you see that same thing seeping into the red pill, and a lot of these guys are sharing the exact same ideas. And then fast forward to where we are now, a lot of them are just debating and going back and forth and going after liberals and lefties, and they're going after the red pill. It's just one giant fucking war. So when you're doing that, you're in some kind of mental state of brain rot. Right? That's what I'm saying. This extremist shit rots your brain. Sneako can't think of anything else outside of those two dynamics. Far right conservatives and far left liberals. So every response he gives has to come from one of those political perspectives. It's just sad because people shouldn't be focused on politics like that right now. I think politics has just become it's the new WWE. That's essentially what it is. It's the new, the red pill rots your brain. Stop popping these pills.
Have a normal conversation about anything without people like invoking politics. I was like, oh my God. Actual bot behavior. Yeah.
The people that usually go to therapy, I don't think that they're based in reality. I think that they like.
Says the guy that says, just put all your problems on God and just wait for a response. Yeah, they're not. So people who actually go see a real human therapist, they don't have their faith in reality. Are you stupid? Like this guy, you see how he just judges people,
trivializing their lives, and they're just not that interesting, and they want to make it more interesting by making up problems and unpacking everything.
Where do you get that?
Any of this? Yeah.
Right. So like for example, you said that they're
therapy to make up problems. Is that what he's saying?
They're like interested in feelings instead of facts. So like, where do you get that impression?
Ben Shapiro.
I'm confused by that.
For example,
because you're drawing a lot of conclusive statements. And I'm curious.
They have something called like gender affirming care. I remember having this in school where we had like social workers and therapists that were designed there, and there were rooms for safe places where there was like a psychotherapist or a psychiatrist, and they would just talk about their feelings, and then it was always, they had like rainbow stickers on the front, and all these people that ended up becoming transgender or becoming gender fluid, they were always constantly in therapy. Or like I went to school with a bunch of depressed kids who thought they were depressed. All these kids were on SSRIs. They were all, as I said, they were anxious. They were constantly popping pills, and they all had the same political ideology. It was sort of like centered around the fact that weakness is okay. They didn't see strength as a virtue. They saw weakness as something to lean into.
How do you know that what they saw?
Idiot, dude.
I'm confused. Like, how do you know what they see?
I mean, by talking to them, I mean, I guess I can't, I don't, but talking to them all the time. See, like the people that were constantly going to therapy in my school were the gender fluid people. The people that didn't believe in it, and the people that were like on a different political idea, like they were the
stereotyping. So you're saying, is this some kind of, are you worried that therapy is going to lead to some kind of gay agenda? Is that what is this what he's thinking? You go you go to see a therapist and then you walk out, snipping your balls off. Is that what he's saying? Do you think that going to a therapist is reserved for people who are only LGBTQ or gender fluid or what? What are you saying? Right, like this guy he's just stereotyping people that go there. No, like people who go there and they obviously they're working through things, so they need to go see someone, all right? Because maybe they're worried about how the people might see, they're worried about their self-esteem, they're worried about their public perception, they're worried about all these different things. So instead of walking through that on their own and being overwhelming to the point they might delete themselves, they go see someone that can help them process that thought process. Just because you see most of those people in LGBTQ who are going through therapies to go ahead and work through their problems does not mean that everybody that goes to therapy are LGBTQ or gay. Like that doesn't make any sense. And it sounds like, bro, you're afraid that if you go to a therapist, it might turn you gay. Is that what it is? Right? You sounded like Alex Jones. Isn't that what Alex Jones said? That they putting stuff in the water, turning frogs gay. And right? Is that what he thinks about therapy? This is, oh my God, dude, the ignorance.
Ones playing sports, working out constantly, and who are like trying to build something.
What does that mean?
Okay. So I'm sort of seeing like there's that just the way that you're viewing things is that there's a lot of like correlations.
Yeah.
So going to therapy is correlated with weakness.
With
is
liberalism
correlated
and weakness,
with
Liberalism and
ideology is correlated
Both of those
with
are very
not
important.
exercising is correlated with not doing things.
Yep. Inaction.
Let me just think about
that.
Why are we having this conversation?
That's facts.
Because maybe I'm wrong. Maybe my way of thinking is incorrect. I consider, I think it's pretty polarizing. When I talk about this, it upsets a lot of people. So maybe my worldview was wrong, and maybe yours is right. And maybe therapy is necessary. Maybe I need it.
What do you think?
I believe the reason I believe what I believe is because I think I'm right.
Okay. Yeah. So that's what's so interesting. So here's my experience of this conversation. So you say things in ways that are very polemic. So like polar. Yes. So you say things in a way that invites me to argue with you and try to prove you wrong. Yeah. Like just the statements that you make. And I can see why people are like inflamed by that. And if I don't try really hard to catch myself,
he's doing a good job.
Then I will start arguing with you.
Right.
Why are you smiling right now?
Because you're right. Because you're completely right. That's just my way. People tell me that quite a bit. I have like a argumentative style of speaking.
That's not the question that I asked. I asked, why are you smiling?
I'm smiling because you're right.
So what is the correlation with me being right and you smiling?
That in 20 minutes you picked up on what my friends and family have been saying for years.
Go!
Okay. And when I pick up on something that your friends and family have been saying for years, so that's just like a fact, right? Like I picked up on it.
Yes.
But you have a reaction to that, which is that you're smiling.
Right.
So that reaction comes with an emotion.
Yes.
That's what the reaction is.
Yes.
What's the emotion?
The emotion, I think I get like a dopamine hit from,
Dopamine's not an emotion.
What's up?
Dopamine's not an emotion. Right? What's the emotion?
Laughter.
Laughter's not an emotion.
I'm not trying to make you sound stupid here, but laughter's not an action. So let's think about it. What's the emotion?
Not an emotion.
Joy?
Laughter's the expression. Yeah.
Okay.
Right?
There we go.
So like, how do you understand that? Like here I am noticing something about you and your reaction is joy.
Oh, because like that was such a cute.
He's
that was so like cute. How this all wrapped. I don't know if he's going to go this way. I might be making an assumption, right? But at the end of the day, an emotion is elicited from Sneako, right? Not the dopamine, not the wrecking, blah blah blah. Like joy
because it was a human person, not God. It was a human person in a conversation that recognized something and it elicited a response from Sneako. I think that's where he's going with this. Or I hope that's where he's going, because that wraps the whole conversation is like wrapped in a super neat bow from here on out to establish that point. Yeah.
Okay. I like connecting with people.
Yeah.
Oh,
right?
yeah, with people. Yes.
There it is. So somebody had you figured out, and the moment they had you figured out, it got you smiling. This is therapy, my boy, because now for the first time, somebody else understands you physically, truly, without judgment. And that's exactly because that's why I think him phrasing things like Sneako phrasing things in the way he phrases it to invite confrontation is a way of him shielding himself, right? And keeping his worldview intact, because then he can just say, yeah, I got him to go back and forth. I was able to listen to a reaction with him and go back and forth. So you're not better than me, because the therapist would buy into his frame at that point in time, right? But here, the guy's not doing that. He's being impartial. He's like asking questions from trying to understand him kind of way. And then he figured him out, and it elicited a smile from Sneako, a genuine smile. Someone picked it up, something that his friends and family members have been telling him. A total stranger was able to figure that out in less than 20 minutes. That's therapy. So instead of you going to your little 10, 11-year-old, 12-year-old fans and saying, yeah, the therapy is a waste of time, sitting on the couch not doing anything. No, this is how it's supposed to work. And Sneako doesn't even realize it. Ladies, 747, shout out to you for the $5 super chat. Lady says, liberals, black women, LGBT, buzzwords, and topic influencers get paid to keep in the algorithm by the far right. Absolutely. I'm telling you, man, they're getting ready to make things happen in 2024. All right? It's just, listen, there's a lot of things that Biden did not handle properly. I don't think he's going to get a re-election. I'm going to just be real with y'all. But yeah, like these guys, the buzzwords are just LGBT or liberals or trans or the agenda, whatnot. Like it's all over the place now. It's just kind of getting weird, right? It really is. It's just getting. It's like, all right, buddy, you keep this going.
Yeah.
Is this weakness? Is what we're doing weakness?
Nope.
No. But
is it strength?
It's a strength. No, it's just a conversation. Like this is similar to most. Yeah. Okay.
Right? So it's neither weakness or strength. It's just we're connecting.
Yeah.
Feels good to connect.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Does it make us weak to connect?
Oh my goodness.
Does it make us strong to connect?
Yeah.
Neither.
Come on.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does.
There you go.
Whoa. How? What's so?
Because you're stronger in groups. So if I connect with somebody and then we go forward, there's two of us instead of one.
Damn.
So there's value to connection.
Boom. Yeah. Strength in numbers, baby. That's what I'm talking about.
So I think that we're not doing therapy, but I think that we just experienced what I would call one of the benefits of therapy. Which
having a human and not God. Yeah, nice. Neat. Good landing.
Just to be seen. Mm-hmm. So I know you're putting on an act. And yet it feels good to see through it, right? Like I kind of saw through it.
Facts. Can't bullshit him.
And that feels good. I'm not, and this is the other thing is I'm not judging you for it. I'm not saying hey, bro, you're an asshole for doing this. Why do you do this? I don't get angry with you. I imagine a lot of people get angry with you.
I do.
Yeah, that's true.
And that must be tough for you.
Or maybe we can talk about.
Let me rephrase.
I'll let you cook.
It used to be tough for you, but now you're better at it. Now you're stronger. Now you know how to pray and you have faith in God. So it's no longer a problem that people are angry with you, right?
No.
The critical misspeak. I'm sorry.
No, meaning what?
Also, the kind of reason I laugh, I kind of like. I like making people react. I like even if it's laughter, I have the same sort of reaction to when people get upset. I like being able to say stuff and then people go, huh? Or laugh. Or I like having an effect on people.
Being a little attention whore. All right. A bona fide clout chaser. This one over here. All right. So listen, chat. He's saying it himself. All right. Instead of in front of a therapist, he's being honest right now. He basically is doing what he's doing because he likes the reaction it gets from other people. He's a little clout chaser.
Yeah.
So like when I say like a racial slur and then people, like that's really fun for me.
How do you understand? So first of all, is that common for many people?
I don't think it's as common as, no, I don't think it's that common.
Yeah, I'd agree. Maybe everyone likes it a little bit.
A little, but I like it more than most people. Yeah.
Yeah. How do you understand that?
I don't know. It's just always been that way. It's always been that way.
Are you interested in understanding it?
Yes.
Oh, let's go deeper.
Okay, so
Let's do
what? What's that expression?
Because now it's like I'm thinking you're gonna like dig into my past to figure out like why that is.
I don't need to. I already know the answer.
I also, Sneako is debating, right? And Dr. K is therapizing. I don't want to say he's doing therapy, but like something akin to it. Something that I think is really good. If you want to debate everybody in your life, you could do that. That's fine. But when you are talking to a therapist or somebody that's trying to help you, I think it's really important to just like have an honest conversation and don't ever try to head the therapist off. Like, don't try to be thinking like, fuck, they're asking me this because if I say this, he's going to fucking say this. And if I say this, then he's going to fucking do that, right? Don't try to like head off your therapist, right? That's just like, yeah, don't just like open up, think, let them guide the conversation.
At the end of the day, you're not really even helping yourself. You came there for help, but yet you're choosing to not even take the first step, which is being honest, right? And if you can't be honest with yourself, how do you expect to be honest with other people, right? You can't, because you're not honest with yourself. So that's the thing. This is what I've been saying before. I don't think Sneako has learned how to actually be open with other people. I don't think he's learned how to do that, right? Because people who go to therapy, people who talk to people, or they surround themselves with a group of healthy individuals, they're able to learn how to open up and learn how to trust people and have conversations with people. But Sneako, I don't think has learned how to do that at all. So that's why he has to put on a front even to his audience, right? Even you guys who listen to you little Sneako bots out there that listens to Sneako, you're not getting the real Sneako. This is exactly what he's telling you. Like when Sneako's out there, even dealing with anybody, talking to anybody, you're not getting the real him. You're just getting the version that he wants you to think of him as. That's it. And it's honestly just painful because we see through this bullshit. We call it out. We're saying, hey, this guy is a grifter, right? He's just putting on a mask and move to the next thing. He doesn't actually believe what he's saying. We're not lying when we say that. You can see through this shit. So, I mean, this is amazing. I'm loving this.
Yeah.
Answer.
What's the answer?
I'm not going to tell you yet.
Huh?
I'm not gonna. We don't need to dig into your past. We don't need to. We can do that if you want to, but we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna figure it out together, right? Because connected, ape strong together.
Right. Yes. We're stronger together. Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's think through it. Right. So and see, even the way that I'm talking to you is changing. So what have you noticed that I'm changing?
Yeah, we have more defense mechanisms, and now they're dropping.
No, Sneako. You had the defense mechanisms, and once you figured out that he's not trying to combat you, he's just trying to help you process what your state is right now, you dropped your guard. You lowered your walls for him to slide on in. I don't know why I went there. I shouldn't have done that. That was too sus, bro. Pause on that. But you know what I mean, chat. Come on now.
Okay, interesting. Yeah. So you know what I'm doing to drop your defense mechanisms?
You're saying things to make me feel welcomed and like you're understanding.
Yeah. And what am I saying to you to make you feel welcome?
It's everything.
Oh my God, Sneako, you're so great. I love you. Like, I'm not, right?
No.
What I'm actually doing is I know the answer, you don't, and I'm not going to tell you, nya.
Right.
And somehow, like, you feel welcome with that. Like, let's play, like, we're playing a game. You feel it?
Well, because everybody likes talking about themselves, and that you told me that you're going to talk more about me in the future, and that's like everyone's favorite topic.
Is it your favorite topic?
No.
No. Yeah, I don't think it's everyone's favorite topic.
Maybe
that would make us
I
narcissistic.
don't know. Yeah.
Right?
That's a narcissistic thing.
No, but I think it's like, I think human beings like to understand themselves. I don't think that's unusual.
Yes.
Yeah. So let me ask you, so when you try to get a rise out of people, right? It can be negative, it can be positive.
Yes.
Okay. So let me ask you, so how does it feel to not? So when you get a rise from someone, I'm going to say that means that I'm relating to you. I'm noticing you. I'm acknowledging you. Is that fair?
Little attention hole.
So if you don't get a rise out of people, how do you feel?
Inadequate.
Yeah.
And
right?
getting a rise doesn't just have to mean
Damn,
anger.
son, you just went, yeah, I know. But inadequate? Yeah. I'm surprised you got there that fast.
Like, you remember
Rise too. Yeah, he's like, yo, I feel inadequate, dog. Yo, he is guard is down completely honest. Honestly, I'm proud of this. Right? Because this is great, right? Because this is how probably most people would feel if they feel like someone's not ignoring them or someone is ignoring them or something like that, right? They would probably feel inadequate. So there it is. So instead of Sneako putting on the front, now he's being honest about it, right? But damn, he went there. This is good. This is good. I'm like,
I remember standing in circles at school and stuff like that, and like there's like a group of people talking, and then you say a joke and then nobody reacts, or like you just say something and like that, like, am I here? Like I said it, like, am I invisible? And then someone repeats the joke louder, and then they all get a laugh. What the? Yeah, that shit sucks.
Yeah.
Yo, this guy is going through his middle school trauma, dog. He's going through his middle school trauma, bruh. In middle school, dude was trying to be a clown, but nobody was paying attention, and it hurt. So that's why he has to go on the internet and do what he does now. Yo, it's all making sense, bro.
Yeah, right. So you feel invisible unless you get noticed. And so, like,
you sure?
Right? Your words. I mean, I use the word notice, but you use the word invisible.
Yeah.
So now let's like kind of think about it, right? So now like there's a guy who goes out of his way because fucking A, we're gonna notice you, Sneako.
Yeah,
right?
I mean,
you're gonna make sure
now.
of that. Right. And you kind of come out charging, and we'll see if you flip back into that mode later.
Okay.
But we'll see what your tolerance of vulnerability is.
Yes.
Maybe.
Okay, wait, real quick. Am I missing a what? Oh, dude. I feel like my apartment is gonna collapse. Is there a way to pull stuff out of my bastion? Like, if I've got all these resources up here, is there a way to like ferry them out and like deliver them to other places, or no?
Yo, I don't care about your.
But I think you're okay with this because I think you like to be seen. I think you're actually more okay with being vulnerable than you give yourself credit for.
Ooh.
Right. I think the biggest issue and what I noticed in Mecca was that, yes, that's true, but doing it for the right reasons. Like, I think it's okay to say a racial slur and, if someone gets upset because my intentions are pure. It's just like, it's funny.
Whoa. See, that's where you lost me. That's where you lost me. Hey, bro, it is not okay to say a racial slur, even if your intentions are good, because not everybody can see what your intentions are. So for someone who's completely out of your own head, can look at what you're saying as a racial slur and take it negatively, okay? Your intentions may be pure, but to them, you just call them a racial slur, okay? But this is deep, chat. We getting deep right now.
To me, and it's funny to people who get it. But also the fact that if I do have eyes, that I'm putting out the right message and that I'm influencing in the right way.
Bro,
that it's not just like clamoring symbols like a loud monkey, or getting, there's some people that just turn it into a giant clown show, that I'm doing something right. And that every time I speak that it's, there is something positive coming out of it.
Sure. So it sounds like is this the first time you went to Mecca?
Yes. Just came back.
And it sounds like it was quite a powerful experience for you.
It was the most powerful. I haven't even fully talked about it yet. Yeah, it was like one of the most, it was the best experience of my life.
Yeah, so like now I can see that you're more centered, right? And now you're sort of saying like, okay, like if my intentions are pure and like all this other stuff, which is cool, but like you were clowning long before.
I wonder if his intentions are actually pure with him being a Muslim. Y'all see what I'm saying, chat? Like, do you believe his intentions were actually pure when he converted to Islam, right? Because that's got to be a guilt weighing over his head, especially if he goes to Mecca and stuff, right? Because he'd be like, maybe this was one big grift. I don't know, right? What y'all think, chat?
Pure and like all this other stuff, which is cool. But like you were clowning long before that, right? You were getting rises out of people long before you went to Mecca and understood everything that you've understood now.
Facts. He was even clowning Islam. And before that, he was clowning Andrew Tate.
Since I was like 4 years old, I used to like tell knock jock jokes. Like there's I would, yeah, always. I was always like making stand-up comedy type jokes since I was like 3.
Yeah.
Like,
Can I ask you about what growing up was like for you? That's like, oh my God. Like,
growing up was good. Growing up was, I grew up in around Connecticut and New York, New Haven, a pretty mixed, diverse, 2-parent household, really good parents. And feel
siblings?
pretty, yeah, siblings, older sister, younger brother.
And what will you say you feel pretty?
I'm very grateful that I had really good parents, and I still do.
So how did you turn out to be such a fuck up? That's my question.
Your parents really good.
They sacrificed a lot in order to raise us properly, and they put 100% into parenting. And I think that's pretty.
Well, let me grab something. Hold on. Do we know how long Bad Bunny's banned for? Right now, it's indefinitely. So
pretty rare. I don't. My parents are still together. Like it's very rare that I meet people that still have parents that are together. I love my parents.
And when you say they sacrificed a lot, can you share a little bit about that? Do you feel comfortable?
Yeah, I mean, I think that they chose to, they didn't go out and party ever. They don't really have that many friends. They didn't really have like that much of a social life or a life outside of raising their children. Like that was their number one priority. Like they weren't selfish whatsoever.
Okay. And what was school like for you?
School
you were the
was
class clown.
Was that?
You were the class clown?
Yeah. Later on, I wasn't as funny earlier, but then I did get funny, and then I was a class clown. Like I had ups and downs. Like I was like 4th, 5th grade. I like tried to be the class clown more than I was. It was cringe. But then like I developed a good flow.
Yeah. And what was like?
Okay, one thing I want to say, I don't want to spend too much time on this. Okay,
he's reading this dude like a book.
Because obviously he's fucking did he do his residency at Harvard? Our guy is so good at conversations. Like probably one of the best,
the right
if not the best I've seen.
He's
okay, that's high praise for me. Okay,
yeah, this is good.
Like remember 20 minutes ago, and apparently Sneako was covering me and Mel before this, right? This is why the goes to therapy blue-haired, well, apparently keeps coming up. Somebody told me this, right? 20 or 30 minutes ago, therapy was gay, God is better, all this shit is stupid, blah, 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 blah.
Yep.
And in, what are we, 38 minutes in or whatever? He's like, now we're talking about our childhood, and we're like very open. We're a lot less defensive. We're like open and receptive to things that are saying. Like he's so good at moving through conversational topics and breaking down. I think the hardest thing to do is to break down somebody's defenses without like being aggressive or combative, because usually it's ironic that or paradoxical, when you attack somebody harder, the defense becomes stronger. But Dr. K is very good at navigating these conversations in ways that don't make people feel like they're on trial or have to fight against something. He just is really good at asking the right questions and then like making you feel good about coming up with the correct answers. And now we're talking about something you originally didn't want to talk about, but you're like happy to be here talking about it, right? I think he's really good at navigating conversations like that. Yeah.
No, that's facts. He's absolutely good at that. And I think part of the reason is because he's not directly reacting to Sneako intentionally being confrontational, right? And that's the thing with a lot of these men, when they talk to, even when you see it in some of these spaces, even when they interact with each other, it's always confrontational. There's always got to be a back and forth. And part of the reason why is a lot of these guys are coming from a mentality where they're inviting that confrontation, even when they say things, right? They're so, I mean, think about it. It's in the rhetoric alone. Whenever these guys say things out there, right, it's always in such a harsh, brash tone in a way that just elicits a reaction from everyone else, right? Whether positive in the incel eyes or negative in the eyes of people who see reality for what it is, right? And a lot of these guys that listen to this stuff, they go on and they pick up that lingo and that pick up that style of talking, and that's how they interact with other people. And they don't realize that they themselves are the reason why when they talk to people or share ideas, they're actually inviting the confrontation, because they don't understand why people are automatically having the negative reaction or the type of reaction that they're having regarding to what they say. So it's preventing them from actually being able to deal with someone who's good at being able to be passive and drop the defenses a little bit without actually being, judgmental or anything like that, right? You have to make sure you catch yourself. And it's crazy because sometimes, like, you saw me here, I'm like, yo, like even when he says something, I'm like, how does that make any sense, right? I can't even help myself but to do that. But it takes a really, really smart person, strong person to know and recognize when somebody's trying to, pull that confrontational energy out of you and to try to like sidestep it, but still get to the answer you want. He's really good.
Like, what were your friends like? Things like that.
If I were to say the worst thing that Dr. K does, then I would almost consider fucking criminal. Okay. And Dr. K could never give this disclaimer because it would be he would be made fun of for it. But I feel like he almost should. Is that I think therapy is good, and you should find a therapist if you want to talk to your problems, blah, blah, blah. But I almost feel like Dr. K sets an unreasonable standard for what a therapist would sound like. I don't know if I've ever spoken in my entire life to somebody that can establish this much rapport this quickly with this level of pretty personal insight. It's almost unfair because if you go to a therapist expecting like, oh my God, they're all like Dr. K, they're not. I'm not saying they're bad, but I think it generally takes people quite a bit longer to get to this stage. And yeah, he's very, 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 very good at this.
Sometimes a therapist need a therapist. It's facts.
Diverse friend group, and we used to make like really fucked up jokes. Like my best friends when I was younger, a Jewish guy and a black guy, and I was more Asian when I was younger, so they would always call me like say that my ancestors died building the railroads, and I would make Holocaust jokes, and then I'd make slave jokes, and then we just it was just brutal, like just trashing each other all day long and trying to make each other cry and laugh.
And that was my childhood experience too, and so it's the rest of pretty much everybody here in the chat and probably out there in the world. Okay, listen, bro. Even coming from Nigeria, I used to get called African booty scratcher a lot. Like that never even made sense to me. I'm like, we don't scratch our booties out there. I mean, I've seen you scratch your ass. Like, what the hell are you talking to me for? Like, but it's just one of those. I think it's like everyone goes through it, but like if you talk to someone to process it, it just helps you get better. But we're going through the equivalent of the who hurt you stage right now with Sneako, and this is really good.
And do you have a sense of what about that kind of humor resonated with you?
I think it was bonding over the fact that you can say fucked up things and it doesn't have to come from a bad place, because the teachers would always try to censor and say, you can't say this, you can't say that, don't do this, don't do that. But deep down, you know, oh, well, my intentions are pure. Just because I say something doesn't mean I mean it. You know, it doesn't have to dictate what my belief system is.
And so have you been judged a lot for what you say?
Yeah, I got canceled off everything. Yeah.
And how do you understand that?
How do I understand? What do you mean?
Like, what's that like for you to be judged for what you say?
I think it's a big responsibility because, I mean, obviously it's a bigger platform than just being like a class clown. A lot of people listen. I think one of the biggest shifts in my perspective was I was at a baseball game with Lil Pump, and it was in between the innings or something. We're walking to the hot dog stand, and then like these 11-year-olds come up to me, and they start like they get really excited. They're like three or four, like they must have been 5th, 6th grade, and they go, "F the women, f the women." And I'm like, "What?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "No, like f transgenders." I'm like, "No, the gay people." I'm like, no, we love everyone. Just like they were all excited. I'm like, is this what they get from my?
Yeah. That's exactly what we've been saying, you dummy. All right. So even if you're saying all this fucked up shit on the internet and your intentions are pure, not everyone can see your intentions. These little boys out here running around saying fuck the women, kill the gays, or whatever the fuck they were spewing out there, they got it from you because they actually never got your intention. They just got attracted to what the crap you were saying, and now they think that's actually your ideology, even though your intentions wasn't that. This is the end result.
So this was quite a funny clip that I saw.
What did you take? Fuck the woman, fuck the woman. What?
No, wait. We love women. We love women.
But not like transgenders.
Yes, sir. We love everybody. No.
All gays should die.
Yeah, merch, preach. What have I done?
Can I get in the video? Fucking talk.
Can I get in the video? Yeah. Talk to him.
Yo, what's up? What did you take?
There you go. That's your legacy, Sneako. That you got to understand that is what you've been breeding out there, and you could tell he was probably genuinely shocked when he heard those kids come up to him, right? And he probably maybe we didn't see it on camera, but off camera he probably went home thinking about that, right? Is this my impact? And we're seeing it unfold right here in a deep conversation with an actual therapist. He's letting you know that yeah, I'm kind of questioning that. Is that what people think of me? Yeah. Now we weren't the assholes when we were criticizing you and telling you that shit was bullshit what you were saying, because this is exactly what we're trying to tell you. You're not saving lives. You're causing people to be angry and hateful.
And I think it was equally like good and bad, because they were joking. They were trying to be, they literally like reminded me exactly of how I was at 10, 11 years old. And it looks bad because it's on camera, because people are like, this is what he's making them believe. Like, this is not what they believe. It's just something that adolescent boys all kind of go through. And I think it's good that they found a vessel within my videos to find a similar sense of humor. So actually, at first I was a little shook, and then it made me really happy. And I think about those guys a lot, and I hope they're doing well.
He's got a
but it is reassuring that, well, not reassuring, but it's like, it gives you a little responsibility. Like, okay, like everything I say and do, like I should have something positive there, because I'm influencing the youth. You know, whether or not a lot of people like to admit it, or how much they try to cancel or silence or censor, like there's, you know,
he still doesn't get it.
What I say is influential.
Chet, he still doesn't get it. You see how he immediately tries to justify it, right? At the end of the day, it was good because, you know, I'm making an influence. Bro, it doesn't matter if you're making an influence or you have massive influence or you're growing your influence or whatever influence you have, all right? What are you influencing them to think or do? That is the real question, and you should probably figure out the answer, okay? The answer isn't positive because you're just influencing them, because we see the efforts of your influence. It's not good. I mean, they're saying pretty heinous things that would probably get them canceled or if they go get a job, lose their job, or even make them unable to have normal conversations with actually normal kids who don't listen to this crap, all right? Because they can try to say that shit to a kid who didn't grow up in that way or watch a bunch of Red Pillars, and all of a sudden they're like, wait, what? Fuck the women, but I'm a girl. Like, what do you mean fuck the women? That's crazy. You know, it's a negative influence, my boy.
Yeah. And in what way would you say you're influencing them?
I think I'm helping them embrace their boyhood in a generation where it's really suppressed, where men are becoming more effeminate, where we're told to cry more and talk about our feelings more, where, you know, gender ideology is pushed, where, and you know, inherently, like, no 12-year-old boy believes in that. They don't believe in any of that.
What?
It's so crazy. I know I've said this before. It's so crazy to me that, like, we identified like concepts relating to toxic masculinity. And by the way, these have been known for a long time. This isn't a new woke invention. And almost every single good, like, old movie that shows like good masculine, anything, like, are all aware of this and talk about this in one way or another. It's crazy that for some reason in like 2020, I don't know, like Red Pillars in the manosphere decided to pick up on, like, oh, you think toxic masculinity is this? We're going to literally embody all of the worst traits of masculinity then as part of our content. It's like, wait, why?
Bro, shout out to Raw B Privilege becoming a YouTube member. Let's get a W in the chat for Raw B Privilege. Raw B, welcome to Duke the Don family. We appreciate you. Welcome. All right. And don't forget to sponsor the show too, by the way, by hitting the like button. But I appreciate you being here. Let's get that W in the chat, guys. Facts. No, what Destiny says is absolute facts, man. I don't think these guys really understand what's really going on right now. I think they just, everything is from that right pill, or not right pill, right wing or left wing lens, right? And it's just like he still has that ideology of, well, you know, it's gonna make you weak because if you're vulnerable and all this stuff, like basically all what some of the guys on the left are saying about vulnerability and masculinity, right? They decided to do the opposite because they see it as weakness. In the fact, it's not. Okay, listen, hate the left or hate the right, there are some positive things out of both groups that are facts. Okay, so when the right's saying, hey, family and values and things like that are very important, okay, because the family's very weak. You know, matter of fact, the cause of most problems in kids' lives nowadays are from family. All right, it just shows you how disintegrated a lot of families are compared to back in the day. Okay, so they have a point on that. But when the left is saying, hey, men, we have a bunch of toxic traits out here that we need to go ahead and work through so we can be better members of society. You can't just reject that. Rejecting that without even fully seeing where they're coming from and then labeling it as some kind of left-wing agenda to pussyfy a bunch of dudes. That's not how it works. You see how much benefit Sneako is getting from just talking to another human being that understands him. That is valuable. So why not put more of that type of message out there?
What? Why? What? It's like so cringe.
They think it's garbage. They think it's stupid, and they don't want to make racist jokes, and they just want to be unapologetic and be themselves. And we're trying to mold boys into something that they're not, and it's making a lot of people unhappy. And I don't think a lot of people see what's going on.
When you say it's making a lot of when we're molding boys into what they're not, right? So this is not that's the side that's winning right now, which is not your side, right?
Right. The godless side.
And when the godless side is succeeding, what happens? when we get boys to talk about their feelings or men to talk about their feelings,
then the woman controls the relationship.
Look at this.
Then you become deeply unhappy. You become weaker. It shows in your body, the way you speak.
This is the Matrix programming. Joe, chat. I think part of me actually thinks he's been fully programmed, right? This is what I mean. What do you mean? That's not even an answer. That seems like a regurgitated talking point, dog. You have been brainwashed by this whole Matrix nonsense, my boy. Like, this shit is crazy. This is crazy. Like, what the fuck are you doing, bro? Yo, John, shout out to you. Welcome to the suit. Hey, welcome to the chat, bro. I appreciate you being here. Shout out John with the $50 super chat. Hey, John, we were just talking about you earlier, bro. Bro, we're not mad at you or anything like that. And don't worry about your badge and whatnot. You got to earn that back. Don't worry about it. You got to earn it back. But we got to make sure you're not crazy out here, okay? But nah, we love you out here, man. Don't worry about it. Chat got too wild and whatnot, but yeah, we got to make sure that, when we're out here with trolls, you got the power to ban them, all right? So when we get you that power back, just use the power to get rid of them and time them out, all right? Don't threaten them and try to kill them, dog. But shout out to John, bro. I hope you caught the earlier part when we're talking about it, bro. Just so you know, don't worry about it. It's that we don't like, again, I love being out here and talking to y'all, all right? Listen, this is dukendon. This is the channel, okay? The channel. You never know what you're going to get. 1 minute, something might happen. Next minute, King Richard comes up here screaming. We don't know. We don't know what you might get. It might be a normal show one day. The next show, somebody popping up screaming with a gun. We just don't know what happens, bro. We've done some wild shit on this platform. But, like, listen, all is forgiven. I just want you to know that. Like, no one's mad or anything like that. It's just, that's how it is. Listen, it's just YouTube. At the end of the day, it's YouTube, right? But I appreciate you being here, bro. Don't worry about that wrench. You're gonna get it back, but we gotta make sure some things are handled. But welcome to the chat, bro. I appreciate you being here. All right. I saw your email too, by the way. You don't need to take a hiatus, bro. You don't need to take a hiatus, dog. You could be right in the chat. Bro, no hard feelings. Trust me. We've been through therapy. we know how to forgive and put things under the bridge and not. We know how to do that, bro. Don't worry about it. We're all good. Shout out to you.
You become more of a snake.
Hey,
you just become less of a man, and you're not leading like the way you don't lead anymore. You're not leading the charge.
Talking about your feelings it means that you become submissive.
Yeah, because you're submitting to a person instead of to God. So, like, you opening up in that vulnerable way to that extent. Yes.
Okay. So if we're not supposed to talk about our feelings, what are we supposed to do with them?
I think there's better, like, I think joking is a way, like, there's better ways to talk about your feelings rather than crying in front of a therapist. Like, I think stand-up comedians, for example, are all fucked up. Like, the best stand-up comedians have, like, all this trauma and stuff like that, and they put that into their craft. And I think it's a really effective way of turning trauma, turning problems into something that's positive. They're spreading laughter. All of them, like, if you go to a stand-up comedy show, I used to do it a lot when I was in New York. And then COVID happened. I was standing there and these people are just talking about their parents and their drug addictions and their relationships and just like and then they find like a way to make fun of it instead of feel bad about it. They just kind of like make light of it, and it's therapeutic to be able to share that information with strangers and then laugh about it. And then you feel better after because you're not like bottling it down. But even then, you don't just need to do it.
That's essentially part of therapy. You don't have to bottle things up and push it down like you pill poppers want to do. That's all you think, because you think it's masculine just to just hold on to shit, right? No, that is the most toxic shit you can do. So when the people are telling you these are elements of toxic masculinity, you don't just go and double down and say, no, we're just going to be that exact same monster you were telling us not to be, all right? That's not how that shit works, bro. No, you just listen to what they're saying, try it out, and see if it actually holds merit. You'll be surprised when trying new things. Believe me.
in stand-up comedy, like sometimes you'll see like the super jack guy in the gym and he's deadlifting like 400 pounds. That used to be me. And you're kind of like all that, whatever's going on, you're letting it out in the gym. Or when I'm sparring too, like, you know, sometimes you get into a mode where you're angry and you're thinking about something that happened, what happened at work, and you just, you know, you let it out there. And afterwards you shake hands with the person, you might have a bloody nose, he might have hit you too. And in that moment, now you're stronger. You know, you're better at fighting.
Hey, first of all, stop. When you're boxing, the last thing you should be thinking about is your problems at home. You need to be thinking about the guy who you're fighting. That should be the only thing you're worried about. If you're out here boxing in the ring and you're worried about, oh, this girl left me and whatnot, you're trying to harness that as an anger, you're going to lose. You're going to lose big time. That's not the purpose of, again, bro, these guys giving these crappy advice. Stop it. When you're in the ring, you focus on that man in front of you. That's the whole purpose. Matter of fact, that's the whole exercise of it, because it teaches you that nothing else in the world matters but the fight that's directly in front of you. You got to finish that fight, tackle the beast, and then go move on to other things. That's the whole point of fighting, right? Not sitting there bringing all your problems to the ring. You're going to get knocked out, bro. Like, what are you talking? We've seen how you fought Bradley Martin. That wasn't. Okay, that makes sense.
And you've let it out in a healthy way. So I think there's healthier ways to express negative feelings or channel that energy than therapy.
Okay. Can I think for a second?
Yeah.
Do you have any questions for me, by the way, so far?
Have I changed your mind on anything?
No. What? Nigga, he opened up your mind. What are you talking about? This dude, wait. Does he not realize he just opened up? Like, what, Joe, what the hell? Like, did I change your mind on anything? No, bro. He just popped open that noggin and just walked all over it. That's what just happened. And you don't even know. That is the crazy thing. You don't even know. You didn't change anybody's mind, dog. You just affirmed what everyone has been thinking about you this entire time, but you refuse to see within yourself.
Okay. How long have you been doing this?
Look, can I ask you a question about that?
Yeah.
Are you under the impression that I don't already agree with you about most of what you're saying?
You see what I mean?
I was under that impression. I was under that impression, yeah.
I mean, is anything that I'm saying... So, like, for example, when you talk about, like, well, let me just toss a couple things out. So I completely agree with you that I think comedy can be very therapeutic. I think exercise can be very therapeutic. I think prayer can be very therapeutic. I think we have tons of scientific studies that support all of those things. We actually know that those are all very effective ways to manage mental health. And I think the other things that we know are that it's not exclusive to that. And in fact, I would say the mind is probably the organ of the body that can benefit from the most diverse kinds of things, as well as the optimal function of the mind requires a diversity of different things to be healthy. The mind actually needs the most balanced diet out of every organ in our body. I think humor, for example, is a very well-documented defense mechanism. When I have patients that I work with, we oftentimes, with the male patients, I will make dick jokes, and we will talk about making dick jokes. And we will even do it very intentionally. And so after we go into a deep part of therapy where we're talking about something raw and real, we will do something called come up for air by making a joke. Sometimes our emotions can lead us in the wrong direction. Agree?
Yes.
Has that ever happened to you?
Not me.
Of course.
Do you feel comfortable sharing an example about that?
To where an emotion led me in the wrong direction?
Yeah.
Does horny count?
Sure.
Horny? I knew it. I knew a bunch of you pill poppers were out here, little horn dogs running around here talking about women all day. No, it makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense why y'all sitting there talking about girls all day. You horny. You all horny. She talking about it. First of all, horny is not an emotion, dog. Like, I don't know where you keep, bro. Somebody teach this guy about emotions. Horny and laughing ain't emotions, dog. But I know all y'all are horny walking out here. I'm telling you, bro, these dudes, their heads are full of cum. That's why they pay all these money on OnlyFans. This is all they think about. It's just horny, bro. And it makes sense because Sneako can call himself a Muslim and then kind of put these arbitrary rules out there about how you gotta, this is haram, how I can't do this and that and whatnot, right? But then go behind the scenes, he's out here got OnlyFans girls and hot tubs, dudes over here having 2 girls make out in front of him and all these debaucherous shit, and then comes online and says, oh, hey, listen, I'm a holy person. Okay, I got religion, I got my God. So you not living the life that I'm living, all right? You're not doing the things I'm telling you to do. You also are not living by God, okay? This is why society sucks. You look at the liberals, all right? Look at these lefties over here. This is why society's going down. And it's like, bro, shut up. Shut the fuck up. We just saw you in a hot tub with a bunch of OnlyFans girls. What are we talking about here, bro? Like, shut up. Like, what are you talking? Get out of here, bro. Y'all horny. That's basically what it is. Y'all some horn dogs running around here. Cocktail Hour with Tree. Shout out to you for the $5 super chat. Cocktail says, been watching and listening a while out in the fundraiser. Shout out to you. I hope it's for something really for a good cause. Shout out to you. Says, keep your foot on these RP necks, Duke. Keep exposing these bozos. Oh, it's never gonna stop. We got a big show coming up, probably the end of this week or the start of next week. But we got a show coming up where we got to do the red pill L's, the biggest red pill L of 2023. We got to figure out how to close out this year, all right? And who took the biggest L of this year? Was it Pearl getting demonetized, Fresh and Fit getting demonetized? Just about all of them getting demonetized, bro. I'm gonna just be real with you. They all getting demonetized. So who won? I don't know. We'll find out, bro. But y'all got to vote in it. So make sure we want to see you there at Cocktail Hour. I appreciate you being here.
Focusing on women instead of what I'm supposed to do happens like on stream all the time. Or fear. I think supplementing, using drugs to cope with fear. Stuff like that in the past.
Okay, so like, yeah. So I mean, I think that's actually, I love those examples because I think they really speak to. So when we have emotions, so they can be useful, but they can also, like, if we're not in control of them, if we don't really understand where they come from or why they come from a particular place, and we're not able to regulate them, we get into trouble. Right?
Right.
So then,
that's the problem with most men.
Are you? By the way, are you kind of is this okay? What we're doing right now?
I'm following. I'm following. You're explaining the use of emotions.
No. He's basically saying, bro, you're in a therapy session. I don't think Sneako has realized that he is in a therapy session right now. That's why he's saying it's okay, because y'all are going deep. You are actively in a therapy session, bro. That's the whole reason. But he doesn't even know it. But you could tell, like, he wants to go deeper. He wants to know more, bro, because, like, he's definitely affected by this. And this is good because this shows you that all this bullshit these guys are talking about, like therapy or this is that, is a waste of time. It's cap, because look how much he's enjoying it. So much so he doesn't even realize he's in an active therapy session right now. And this guy is good.
So, and then I think that, like, so this is where we kind of come to emotions such as crying or is a weakness. And that's kind of where I'm going with this. Is that I think so, in my opinion, or expertise, call it whatever you want to, like, you will be a more effective human being if you can understand and even to a certain degree control, if you have a better relationship with your emotions. In the same way that we can train our muscles or our breathing, we can also train our mind.
That's facts.
Right. I agree.
Right? And so I think one of the key parts of that training is a better relationship with our emotions, and specifically to understand. So sometimes we will also have inappropriate emotions. So a good example of this is, let's say that I get anxious asking for a raise from my boss. Even though I've worked really hard, I feel I deserve it, but something.
Did you see my DMs? I'm sorry to join here. I just need to, like, square it away right away.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So everything's confirmed. I read about how special by
the you're able to keep therapy, and one starts a consistent fitness routine of what they need is about an act for you.
How do they overcome porn addiction or masturbation addiction?
It's a great question.
Porn addiction. Last thing I want to ask you, like, a lot of people in the chat are asking, how do they overcome porn addiction or masturbation?
I knew it. I knew a bunch of y'all are horn dogs. Okay, listen, this is why we can never be good therapists, people. All right, because we judging, we judging right now. But god damn it, we were right. All right, I look like the majority of this chat. Look at the question they're asking. Hey, we got porn addiction, bro. How do we get rid of it? But y'all, the man was trying to criticize other people. It makes sense why you guys are so attracted and obsessed with these OnlyFans women, because you're horny. You're all horny. And this is good. This is really good. You need to, while they have a professional on the stream right now, this is probably something they want to hear. This is good. Because y'all, I've been saying this, chat. Oh, shit. Oh, Charles in this with a $6 super chat says, sup, Duke? Just checking to see if you're going to be doing a stream on Christmas Eve. I actually might be. When is that, by the way? Oh, wait. I'm dumb, bro. I'm dumb as hell. Yeah, I might be. That's actually we might actually put that. I don't know. Maybe not. Probably do it either a couple days before or not, because then I might be doing something. That's a good one though. I might be. But we'll see. Look out for the community tab. I'll post something if I'm doing it or if I'm not. But yeah, shout out to you. But yeah, y'all some horn dogs. You know it. That's why all these different grifts that you've seen in the red pill, right? Especially the guy. Y'all remember the no-fap dudes? Y'all remember the no-fap grip? That shit was out here. That stuff was out here. Everybody's just, oh yeah, semen retention. And they had all these terrible ideas on what it takes for just controlling your sexual urges, right? Thinking semen retention is gonna like all of a sudden make you some kind of masculine dude, right? As you see some of these dudes like, oh yeah, I went on semen retention for 10 days and I made $100,000. And some dudes be like, I went on semen retention for 900 days and now I'm God. I'm exaggerating, obviously, but you see what I'm saying? That whole semen retention, it's what this was a microcosm of basically a bigger problem. Okay, we're seeing that a lot of these guys. There's a reason why OnlyFans is taking off. There's a reason why webcamming is taking off. There's a reason why Fresh and Fit platform, they're always going to be where they are, especially if they keep that same model with the OnlyFans girls and whatnot. That's going to keep taking off because we have a generation of men that do not understand how to control their sexual urges. All right. And some of them, they think that the whole masturbation thing and whatnot too, right? There's a whole lot of problems in there, but this is good to know that we now know not only what Sneako's thinking, all right, little horn dog, but we also know what his audience are thinking, little horn dogs themselves, all right? So now we understand where a lot of the hatred and frustration, at least sexual frustration, is coming from in regards to the opposite sex. These guys are full of cum and frustrated, dog. This is what it is.
Addiction.
It's a great question. A couple of things. One is we've got a bunch of resources about that if people are interested. Like I'll do like lectures and stuff on porn addiction. So we have stuff on that on YouTube, but I'll answer now in kind of a quick way. So here's what we have to understand about porn addiction. Any addiction exists because of two things. When an activity gives us pleasure and takes away pain, we have the capacity to become addicted to it. If you really look at addiction, there is a cycle of addiction. So in the first phase of addiction, all it does is make us feel good. In the second phase of addiction, so let's say like something like smoking or coffee or playing a video game. The first game that you play is fun. The first time you jerk off and you watch porn, it's fantastic, right? There's no downside. Then what happens over time is we develop a tolerance to the positive. So the first cup of coffee that I drink in my life will keep me awake for 24 hours. But if I drink it every way, I develop a tolerance. This is a neuroscientific mechanism. This is also part of the reason that many people will start to watch more hardcore or extreme pornography over time, because they get desensitized or develop a tolerance. Mm-hmm. So the second phase of addiction is sort of you stop enjoying it. And then the other thing that starts to happen is it suppresses our negative emotional experience. And if you really work with people who are addicted to pornography, what you'll find is that they're not actually very lustful. They use it as an emotional regulation technique. When they feel bored, when they feel sad, when they're trying to keep negative thoughts at bay. Oftentimes we're not even aware of it because men are alexithymic, which means that we are colorblind to our internal emotional state. We're so good at ignoring and shoving down our emotions, we're not even aware when we feel them.
Careful.
That's liberal think right there, according to some of these conservatives, right? These far right people, all right? He's indoctrinating you. See, they got him. Sneako, they got you, right? No, but he's absolutely right. Men do not understand how to process their own emotions, especially internally, right? So he's absolutely right. It's not a toxic masculinity thing. You guys need to get out from that mentality. It's not a toxic masculinity or any of that stuff. It's a necessary thing for us to have, to be able to regulate and understand and process our emotions instead of just suppressing them or not even trying to deal with them at all. It's very important. It's not weak or being vulnerable or being afraid that a woman is going to take advantage of you or control you. Listen, you can be vulnerable and not weak-minded. Matter of fact, being able to know when to be vulnerable is a sign of strength. Okay, if you think that being vulnerable is a gateway for a woman to come control your life, that's I don't know why you would even do that out of fear. Why are you fearful of a woman coming in and controlling you all because you're vulnerable? Are you that mentally weak? And if you are, you probably should go see a therapist. I mean, it's simple.
So a lot of that porn behavior is actually driven by negative emotions. So the real way to break free of porn addiction is, first of all, you have to do something with. So porn serves a purpose. That's why we get addicted to stuff. We will ruin our lives for an addiction not because the addiction is bad, because it's really good. So a good example of this is I had a patient who was addicted to heroin, getting fired from their job, going through a divorce, on the brink of financial ruin. Kids don't talk to them. And then I was like, bro, don't you just I don't understand how you don't get this. Like, heroin is fucking ruining every dimension of your life. Why don't you just stop? And then he turned to me and he was like, well, it's because that every part of my life is falling apart that I can't stop. Heroin is.
Reminds me of, y'all remember that study? So if you know the name of the study, ChatGPT, you got to help me out, okay? But what's that one where they had a bunch of rats and it was like they had the rats isolated and they had a bunch of cocaine water, right? And the rats would always drink the cocaine water, even to their detriment. They would eventually die of overdose because they would drink too much cocaine water. So then what ended up happening was they took the rats and then put it in a bigger enclosure where a bunch of other rats were, and they made it like a big paradise for rats. And these rats would run around, interact with each other, play around, form bonds, right? And they noticed that they had regular water and cocaine water, right? And they noticed that the rats didn't drink the cocaine water, at least not as much compared to the regular water, because they were surrounded by other rats and they had other, what do you call it, rat family, right, to interact with. They had something to do. They were functional, right? And they therefore didn't need the cocaine or the stimulant, versus when the rats were isolated and they didn't have things to do, right? All of a sudden, they would much rather drink out of the cocaine water versus the normal water. So it makes sense that, it's the same. At least I'm gonna say it's like, because obviously rats don't translate to humans, obviously, but you can see some similarities with what he's saying.
The only time that my life is put together.
I'm so curious if this is empirically backed, because this maps onto my understanding of addiction. I remember I used to say that I feel like the problem with drugs is drugs are so good in that if you have the worst life ever and the best life ever, drugs would put both of those people at the exact same place. But the problem is that if your life is awesome, when you stop doing the drugs, you fall a little bit into your normal life. But if your life sucks, that's a huge chasm that you fall into. You go from, I feel so good, to oh my God, what is my day-to-day? Take every statement I say cautiously, okay? But I have a hard time imagining, I can even say myself or anybody else, in a really good position. It's how do you get addicted to heroin? How do you get addicted to these drugs? Even if there's pharmacological explanations for why, if your life is awesome, you're not high anymore, you get a little bit of 70 high, it's okay, but then you're back in your cool life. But bro, if you lived in some squatter house or some shit and your body is fucked, your health is failing, you're homeless, bro, that's a dark life to go back to.
But it's like if
you're right, it's escapism, right? They want to escape from their current reality into a different one. That's why people do meth and OD like crazy, or do all these other crazy drugs and just OD, is because they're trying to escape their current predicament right now, right? So that's why, again, I think we have the idea on addiction wrong, especially when people think, oh well, yeah, these opiates they make it easy for people to get addicted to these drugs. But I mean, so if you go, what war was it? Was it World War II or Vietnam? That maybe it was World War II, where a bunch of these guys were doped up on meth, right? Y'all remember that, when a bunch of these soldiers were on meth? And they were taking it to or was it meth or heroin? I think it was either one of those two, right? And they would just take it to go crazy. And some of these guys were addicted overseas, and a bunch of Americans were worried that they didn't want a bunch of drug addicted, soldiers coming back and running amok around here. And then what ended up happening was, it turns out that when soldiers came back, they were fine. Right, some of them, at least most of them were fine, because they had their family and they were doing other things, and they weren't stuck in some kind of hellhole, right, where they had like fear for their lives and shells dropping all over the place, right? Because again, if you're in that wartime environment, you'd probably more likely do meth and drugs to escape the reality you're in, because it's so fucked up, right? So it kind of makes sense.
You do, whatever recreational drug, like you're back as good as it ever could be, right? Better than what an ordinary person would feel like. Yeah, I don't know. That's like I feel like if you're, this is what I'm saying. I've always said, like, if you want to do recreational drugs, I think doing recreational drugs as like a bonus to your life, or like a fun thing, I think is fine. I mean, use responsibly, obviously.
Yeah.
But when you are doing recreational drugs to escape, I think that's super, super, super scary, because this is why I don't like it when people do drugs every day. Because when you're escaping life with a drug, like, I mean, when you're not high anymore, what are you going to do? You're going to do the drug again. Like, it's just, why would you want to go back to your shit life when you can be high as fuck on something really nice,
Well, that's facts, and that's why when some of these red pillars, they think it's funny to like make fun of you, right? Oh, it's like, because I'm open about smoking and drinking and all the stuff like that, so I don't really, it doesn't bother me, because I'm at the end of the day a responsible human being. I don't have a shitty life where I'm doing this stuff to the detriment of my actual life, right? So it goes for tons of people out there who are functional, right? But they will sit there and clown you for it, and like acting like they don't have any vice or anything like that. And it's like, bro, look at you and look at your audience and what you're building. Your audience are literally a bunch of cum addicted, fucking porn addicting, OnlyFans loving or hating weirdos out there. And you're looking at us who are just living normal lives, casually drinking, casually smoking, and saying we're the bad example. But look at your ideas, and even some of the ideas where it come from is from a place of negativity and hurt. And we're seeing that on a display, right? So again, I just find it interesting when they would look at the responsible ones and say, "Oh, look at your life." It's crazy when we're looking at y'all and saying, "Yeah, bro, okay, you don't sound like you're all there, bro."
The rest, when I'm not high, like everything's falling apart. So for most people who are addicted, there's this.
Explain rich Hollywood druggies. Then I don't know how good their lives are, because when I'm projecting my views of like partying and everything onto these people. But like when I think of like a guy in Hollywood addicted to drugs, their lives seem really lonely. They're really rich. They have a hard time. They have a hard time relating to people. Their friends and their relationships are highly transient. I don't know if they can rely on anybody around them, or if it's all like snakes or like shitty agents, or It doesn't seem to be that good to me. But maybe it is. Maybe there are people that enjoy that lifestyle, but that would be my that'd be my first guess, is that these people's lives are actually pretty shitty.
Well, yeah, because when you get to that level of wealth and fame, you start realizing how fake people can be, right? Your friends become your enemies, and you can't really trust anybody else because people always want something from you, right? And it's not just with Hollywood stars. It's the same thing with professional football players. Who was that? Oh, I forgot that running back. He was in Alabama. Is it something Henry or something like that? I don't know. But he was a pretty good running back. But what stopped him from actually making a successful career in the pros was his family. His family kept coming to him and borrowing money, and some of them would come in and put him in a worse off situation. And then worst off, they would blame him for all of that, even though he was trying to do his best to help and support his friends and family. At the end of the day, it was his friends and family that ended up. Trent Richardson. Y'all remember Trent Richardson? That was the running back back I was talking about, right? Y'all, let me know. Put a 1 if you actually heard of Trent Richardson before. If you haven't, I think you got to look him. He's a good guy, strong running back. But yeah, his family situation took down his NFL career because the moment he signed that contract, everybody came out of the woodworks trying to get a piece of what he had. And then he realized that a lot of people around him that he's been around that he thought he could rely on were fake. So you're now put in a situation where you're incredibly lonely, and it starts to lead to depression. And even Trent Richardson talked about that. There was a lot of things that he was talking about how he went through depression and he was going through a lot of stuff because he realized there weren't real people around him. So I'm not surprised Hollywood celebrities go through the exact same shit. I'm not, maybe the ones who become famous, not necessarily the ones who grew up famous. That's a different kind of problem. those guys, that's more of an entitlement and kind of how you were brought up versus the people who come into money. But absolutely. Cocktail out with the Catrice. Shout out to you for the $2 super chat. She says it was Vietnam War. Okay, it was the Vietnam War. So my father served. It was heroin. Okay, yeah, it was crazy. But like when you're in that situation, and Vietnam was especially brutal. It was an especially brutal war because America had no idea what it was in for. I mean, that's a war that America does not want to admit it lost. Like, we're just going to be real. Even though we've taken a lot of L's in the world that y'all don't know about it, but that is the one war everybody knew we took a massive L on. We had no idea what we were doing. It was a hellhole for the soldiers that were, I wouldn't say forced, but were put in that situation, right? And you're in there, you don't know where they're coming from. They're coming from on the ground, or they're coming from the trees, or, you step on the ground, all of a sudden they had those bullet grenades. Or not bullet grenades, bullet mines, right? When you step on a hole, it goes down and a bullet shoots up on your foot. I mean, these guys were creative. These guys were not playing. Like they were running through American soldiers, bro. Right? And it was just, you're in that situation as an American soldier. You're getting all these people coming out at you, enemies or non-enemies, bro. It'll fry your mind. So I wouldn't be surprised you getting the heroin just to cope with the situation. That was an especially brutal situation, man. It was bad.
But I could be wrong. Maybe there are people that genuinely enjoy that type of lifestyle. I'm not sure.
Neuroscientific component, but there's also something underlying that is driving the addiction. So you have to fix that. So whatever insecurity it is, however you manage your emotions.
Heroin makes your body physically dependent on it from the first use. You can get addicted to alcohol or other substances that are not physically addicted because you condition your body to become used to it. Since you are addicted to the feeling, even if your body doesn't develop physical dependence on it. Very, 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 very cautiously saying this to your own research. I don't believe that that's true.
That's not.
I think you can be.
I'm gonna tell you right now, Destiny. I know you're being cautious. I'm gonna tell you right now. That's not right. That's not right at all. I think what what Dr. Tay said was actually more on point. I think it's kind of where your mental state is and where you're coming from, right? That's what's going to influence if you're going to be addicted to drugs or not. I don't think it's because, the drug itself. Maybe some drugs have a lot more addictive qualities than others, but it's definitely a mental state because someone can drink alcohol and be addicted the first go. Right, and someone else can drink it and not be. Someone can smoke weed and be addicted the first go. And for those of you guys don't say weed is addictive, bro. And they could be addictive in the first go. And some people can smoke it and only be occasional smokers. Okay, I think it just has to do with what you're going through mentally and where your environment initially is, right? So the doctor is actually right. I don't think what this guy is saying is correct.
Become addicted to heroin on the first use, but I don't think using heroin the first time you are developing a physical addiction to it, that like your body needs it at the first time. I don't believe that's true. You can become addicted to a lot of things in the first use, but I don't think that that's the mechanism for heroin. I'm trying to think if does opiate withdrawal kill you, or is it just really rough?
It depends on how severe it is and how you're able to manage the withdrawal period. Especially how physically capable you are, right? So if you've been on opiates for a very long time and your body is just not, you got a weak heart, you got a weak, it's not going to work out too well for you. You're going to need some like serious assistance to get through it. Otherwise, if you haven't been doing it for less than however long, then yeah, you just have to have people around you that know what they're doing. You might actually need counter medications to help with that, right? But yeah, withdrawals can be deadly. They can be absolutely deadly.
I don't think opiate withdrawal kills you. It might. I don't remember. I know that benzodiazepine withdrawal will kill you. Absolutely. And I know that alcohol withdrawal will kill you. Absolutely. I don't think I don't think opiate withdrawal will kill you.
It probably will.
I think opiate withdrawal just sucks because, like, bro, that depressive state. Oh my god, I can't even imagine. If the highs on heroin are even remotely similar to, say, I don't know, like if I'm trying to think of like comparing it to like MDMA. If it's like even remotely similar to that, or if it's as high as that or higher than that, then like coming down off of that is going to be, it's going to be brutal, especially if your life sucks. Oh my god. And then living in that like depressive state for a while, it's just like, ugh, yeah, fuck that. Coma those people in Australia.
You can metabolize your emotions. You can hit the gym. You can go pray. You can go see a therapist. Those are all very effective. And I think like everything all together is ideal, unless something doesn't work for you, which is totally fair. And so you have to fix what's driving the underlying addiction. And if you look at the science of porn addiction, the number one thing that correlates with having a pornography addiction is a sense of meaninglessness in life. So finding purpose is a very powerful antidote.
I've done both MDMA and different opioids. MDMA is like 100 times better. Opioids just make you feel relaxed and really cozy. Is that true?
Nah.
When you say opioids, what kind of opioids are we talking about?
Yeah, you got to specify, bro.
I have heard people say that like heroin is comparable to MDMA, but like it can be better, more intense, especially if you're injecting, because the high is instantaneous, probably quite intense. But I don't, I've never heard somebody say, I don't have any experience with opiates either though. And I never took any. I got some pills for my wisdom teeth, but then we did that stream where I was gonna see how long can we suffer through the wisdom teeth pain after getting it removed, but it just wasn't that bad. I never ended up taking them. I think it was like 10 pills of hydrocodone or some shit, which is weaker than
oxycodone.
I don't remember all the strength. What is whatever pills I had, it was like 499 parts like ibuprofen, like 1 part whatever the normal hydrocodone shit or whatever they put in. I don't know. Opiates are a class of downers as far as I know. Yeah, I believe they are. Yeah, depressants or whatever. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure. That's good. Opiate addicts are the most boring fucks. Non-social drugs are for actual boring losers.
Hey, yo. Yo, Destiny's chat, dog. What's wrong with you?
Maybe, yeah.
Y'all
I've never tried,
God damn. Jesus.
Never tried it before. I know Benzo's some boring as fuck. However, for a lot of people, wait, hydrocodone isn't an opiate, it's an opioid? Is there a difference? I don't know anything about these class of drugs. I don't do them. All right, sorry. 4 minutes of this.
To porn addiction. And the simple way to understand that is you have to have a reason to stop watching porn. You got to be doing something with your life. Otherwise, like if you're fucking sitting at home all day, like why the fuck not, right? Your brain is sitting there and it's like, we've been sitting here for 6 hours. We haven't been doing anything. Let me watch some porn.
Honestly, that makes sense why a bunch of Sneako's chat are asking the doctor about kicking porn addiction, because a bunch of y'all, all right, you're just sitting around there watching this dude live his life and y'all not doing nothing. That's why you guys get excited when you see him with these OnlyFans girls, because you're living vicariously through him. So then when you're done clicking off the live stream, you go jack off. That makes so much sense. You guys are bored with nothing to do. Yeah, y'all tell us to go live our lives. Nigga, we living. But you guys are the ones that aren't living. You're out there watching all these people on the internet, taking your advice from this internet people, and then when the internet turns off, you go and go watch porn. Not the when the internet. When the YouTube turns off, you go watch porn. That's it. And then you get frustrated at yourself, then you come back on the red pill and repeat the cycle. All of this shit is making so much sense.
And so you got to fix whatever it is. You got to start to get some purpose, do some emotional metabolism, which is the ultimate fuel for the porn addiction. And then there's also a behavioral component of like, you know, reducing your consumption, limiting your consumption, making it so when you have an impulse to watch porn, it isn't so easy. So if you sort of have an impulse to engage in an addictive behavior, if you can create time between the impulse and the access.
Yeah, I don't want to say this because I don't know if it's true or not, but I feel like for a lot of people that do some of the downer drugs, I feel like these are people that are just like really anxious all the time in life. And if you're like a very high-strung anxious person, I could understand why doing a benzo or why doing an opiate would be like the best feeling in the world. If you're like always are anxious or always are high-strung and then you do a drug and you're just like straight chilling, I can imagine like the breather that drug would feel like. But I'm not a very anxious person generally. Or ever really. I'm pretty chill most of the time. So I just, it feels like it would just be really boring to me, but who knows?
Access that will help a lot. And if you really think about it, people who develop technology understand this. So it used to be that I had to unlock my phone and then open an app in order to like look at cat pictures. But phone developers are getting better and better and better at Face ID, thumbprint. And so now it's easy anytime we have an impulse to access it. And the more time that we delay, the more that our impulse can disappear, or we can start to think, or we can think, okay, I don't have time for this. But like people are getting really, really good at like, I have an impulse, let me gratify it right this second. Mm-hmm. So you have to work on that too, which is like really limiting how easy it is to access porn. So this is very simple stuff. Like if you've got a Pornhub account, delete it. A log out of whatever.
No. If you got an OnlyFans account, which is the majority of you, delete that shit now. Instead of coming online and complaining, why these men? I don't get why these women are getting so much money on OnlyFans. It's you. Turn it off. Turn it all off and just watch. Just watch the sparks fly. That's all you need to do. But you guys are the ones funding your own destruction. That's what you're doing, because as you've created this environment where you have to sign up to a webcam, you have to sign up to a porn site, you have to sign up to OnlyFans, because this is what you guys are. So again, turn it off and you listen, you watch a lot of these things change, right? I bet you if you, instead of you guys watching Fresh and Fit's after hour show, maybe you watch their normal show instead of that after hour shit, and guess what? I guarantee you they'll stop doing that. Myron especially, they'll just stop bringing on the girls. Watch how fast things change. But then again, that would require a bunch of you weirdos to be honest with yourself, which most people aren't ready to, because you got idiots like him, Sneako, over here telling you that you shouldn't see a therapist. Go see a therapist and watch shit change. If a bunch of dudes did that, watch shit change.
Stuff that you have so that it's not easy to access. Or delete it all so it's hard to find or whatever. Like you can do all that kind of stuff and it'll help. But I think that usually working with addictions, you got to fix that underlying stuff. And the good news is that the addiction oftentimes melts away on its own if you do the rest of the work.
You gotta do the work.
You have to do the work.
Do the work.
Absolutely, man. I think the last thing that I'll share is that in my experience, therapy is a lot of work. It's not like a
facts.
I mean, it's heavy, dude. It's like lifting, just lifting your emotions and lifting your thoughts, and there's heavy shit down there. It takes
it's definitely easier than sparring.
God, it's so.
He does. Sometimes you think you're going through a breakthrough, and then you're like, God, this guy doesn't get it. He's still trying to get argumentative. Bro cannot help himself. No, it's not about boxing. Those are perfectly fine ways to let off stress. What we're talking about are something else, bro. Like, God, oh my goodness, dude. I bet you arguing with him is just exhausting. Like, just talking with him is exhausting, dog. You got to be either a professional or just some kind of like person with extreme patience, because like it's like the programming is that deep on this dude.
How is he like such a child?
I don't know.
He thinks like, and I know why he's saying this. Sneako thinks that therapy is you go to the therapist's office, you go, oh, my life is so hard, and the therapist's like, true, bro, true facts, go fucking post about it on the gram, and Sneako's like, that's what therapy is. It's like so cringe. Ugh.
Talking about your childhood is easier than physical exhaustion.
Man. No, I mean,
no. Again, it's not easier than physical exhaustion, bro. Yeah, I mean, physical exhaustion is hard on the body. Yeah, but you know how hard it is for people to open up? I think that's even harder. Now, think about millions and billions of men out there who don't even know how to do that. Some of them come from places where it's extremely difficult for them to do that. Some of them come from places where their family encourages the men in the family not to do that. because it's seen as a sign of weakness. How many young men walking around with all these bottled up emotions, right? They want to let it out. They want to tell someone about it, but it's extremely difficult. Most people would much rather get in the ring and find it easier to do that than being vulnerable in a bunch of people. I would say, Sneako, what you're doing right now it's harder to do than someone getting in the ring right now. And it's proven because he's making it seem like, you know, getting in the ring is easy. Yeah, but opening up is hard. Like, this guy doesn't get it, bro.
I think some people are much more comfortable with their body than they are with their emotions. Especially men.
Especially men. I was gonna say
vulnerability is very hard for men. Because there's ego involved. Like, surrendering your ego is really hard.
Can't do it.
Like, I'm not saying that sparring
even right now, Sneako can't do it.
Easy, but I think there's plenty of people who love sparring. Like, plenty of people, it's not hard. They live for it. And you know, so I don't agree with the generalization of your statement, but I completely agree that for some people, for me, sparring is harder than talking about my emotions. For sure. So in a sense, I'm proving your point. I think people are different. Does that answer the porn addiction question?
It does. It does.
Any other
Get off the freaking internet.
thoughts or questions before we wrap up for the day?
Thank you.
Thank you, man.
Thank you. This is a good conversation. I need to listen to.
You need to listen to who? You need to listen to who? Again, you don't need to listen to the next person bro. You need to go set an appointment with this guy. That's what you need to do. All right, great. He's already ready to open up his mind to the next grip. Like, yo. You need to listen to who? No. Relax. Okay, go book an appointment, because I think this was big. This was a huge breakthrough that you've had that you've probably never had in your experience since your first experience at a therapist. All right, and even then you weren't honest, but here you were honest, and you did it in the most difficult environment in front of a bunch of people. We're here reacting to it because you did it, and I think that's tough. So I think you need to do more of this, and I think doing more of this would actually lead you into a better mode of thinking. And I think when you're in a better mode of thinking, your audience and your fans, especially when they're getting good advice on how to kick their porn addiction, now that we know a bunch of y'all are porn addicted, right? They can get useful knowledge from you to go ahead and help them be better, because what you were saying and doing before didn't work. You can't tell, oh yeah, don't watch porn, because he's been telling his fans not to do that, but then he surrounds himself with OnlyFans women. He surrounds them with the imagery of scantily clad women that would make them go masturbate or go watch porn as soon as they turn off your stream. So you're seeding all their image in their heads. Same thing with Fresh and Fit. That's why they are the biggest podcast out there right now in the red pill that indoctrinates a bunch of young men into OnlyFans and to subscribe to girls OnlyFans. That's what Fresh and Fit does. Yet they will turn around and tell you, oh, we tell you not to watch porn every day, but here's what they're doing. They're stacking these girls in front of you. Why? Because they know they don't have to pay these girls, but they know that you would subscribe and pay them their OnlyFans fee. If these guys actually took the time to see somebody, talk to a therapist, right, and actually kicked their sex addiction or porn addiction, because again, don't get it twisted. These red pillars, all right, especially the successful ones, are just sex addicted dudes that have access to women. They're porn addicted dudes that have access to women, no doubt. If they didn't have the money, they wouldn't have the access. They'll just be like every one of these random incels out here. Yeah, I mean, it just makes so much sense. A lot of this stuff is making so much sense, bro. You kids need to turn off. Listen, I would say just turn off the streaming, turn off these guys, because they're seeding that in your head. But I think Sneako needs to do more of this. He needs to do more of this. I think every single one of you pill popping weirdos need to go see a therapist right now. You need to go do that. All right, because right now what this exposes is a bunch of hurt people just out here hurting people. Instead of you coming out here giving advice, go see a therapist, go get your mind right, and then when you come out, you're coming out spitting facts. All right, that's why I'm here. I'm over here. I see a therapist all the time. Okay, I have good people around me I can talk to when I have issues. Okay, So that's why when I can take that knowledge and I can go ahead and counteract your talking points because I know what reality is. You guys don't. I'm not saying y'all in the chat. We're all pretty based here. I'm talking about these pill popping weirdos. They don't understand reality, bro, because these guys have been listening to people that are hurt. Sneako talking about he's been bullied. So have we. Did you talk to someone about it? No. That's why you out here talking reckless. Oh yeah, I just like saying racial slurs. Racial slurs are good. It's like, what? Like, shut up. Shut up, bro. Get the hell out of here. But chat, that's what I got for y'all today. Y'all let me know what exactly you think of this whole situation, right? You think this was actually a helpful situation for Sneako? Or do you think that Sneako is gonna figure out how to turn this into a different grift? I don't know, man. I'm actually thinking of the latter one. Okay, maybe he might do this. He might just go. What I think he might actually do is probably book a couple sessions with this guy, probably learn a few things, and then try to do the same thing to his fans, right? I feel like he seems like the guy to do something like that, dog. He might. This might be his new grift, dog. We never know, all right? But either way, I still think that it's beneficial for him to actually go out and seek help and get a healthy perspective and whatnot. Because other than that, it's not. This ain't gonna work out, bro. This little shit he's doing, it's not gonna work out. And I think I see all red pill weirdos. You gotta go out here and touch grass. I think that's just gonna be beneficial for you. But what do you guys think, chat? Were we right all along? Listen, by the way, chat. A shout out to you guys. The show's over. But for my 1 and 2 army, what do you guys think? Okay, do you think that we were right about a bunch of these guys being young, dumb, and full of cum? All right, some of these dudes out here who are out here supporting these red pillars, right? There's an underlying hurt. Put a 1. Or if you think Duke, no. The Dr. K was completely wrong. Sneako was spot on. Sneako, he totally owned the doctor. Doctor had no idea what's going on. Put a 2 in the chat. I value your opinion either way. Just let me know where y'all heads at. But other than that, guys, I appreciate y'all being here. You can be anywhere in the world right now, but you're spending time with Duke the Don, and man, that means a lot to me. Don't forget to sponsor the show on the way out, and I'm gonna catch you guys on the next one. Peace.